Chapter 455. Looking for the ruins of the ancient sects was something that all the sects and families were passionate about. In the ruins of the ancient sects, there might be a lot of cultivation resources. There might even be some heaven-defying mantras. Whichever sect or family was able to obtain them would have a great increase in strength. However, with the satellite map, it was much easier to find the ruins of the ancient sections. That was why Yi Xiaoye was puzzled. There were ruins of the ancient sects nearby. Why didn't the people in the past discover it? Moreover, how could there be ruins of the ancient sects in the vicinity of such a densely populated city? Thinking of this, Yi Xiaoye couldn't help but click on the push message curiously. I found the ruins of an ancient sect near Songning City. Now I'm gathering experts above the 5th stage of inner strength to explore and excavate it together. After entering the ruins, the treasures obtained can be exchanged for points or distributed equally according to the number of people. I won't take more. It's fair and reasonable. If anyone is interested, please contact me. Don't disturb me if you are below the 5th stage of inner strength. The message was very simple, but it revealed a lot of information. That was, the relic should be near Songning City, but the specific location was not mentioned. Songning City was a relatively large city. It was absolutely impossible to have the relic of an ancient sect in this city. It must be in the surrounding small cities and counties. However, this person did not elaborate. He was afraid that if he said too much, someone would search for it on their own without bringing him, the initiator. However, in the warrior guild, experts above the 5th stage of inner strength were rare. 3rd stage or 4th stage was already an extraordinary existence. After all, the local warrior guild didn't have many experts, and the experts of those families rarely went to the warrior guild to do the mission. This push message made Yi Xiaoye a little tempted. Even if she came from a big sect, who would complain about those cultivation resources? Moreover, the Devil Star sect was actually a relatively small sect in the Devil sect. Their resources were still very limited. After thinking about it, Yi Xiaoye forwarded this mission to the White Fox and said, "Are you interested?" Just as Xiaochen finished his conversation with the Elder Heaven Ancestor, his phone rang. He picked it up and saw that there were actually 3 push notifications, which surprised him. The Warrior Guild's client rarely had push notifications, and it was usually Yi Xiaoye talking to him. Now that there were 3 of them, could it be that Yu Shaochuan was also looking for him? But that shouldn't be the case. Ever since Yu Shaochuan found out his true identity, he didn't use the Warrior Guild's app to contact him anymore. He opened it and saw that it was the same as what Yi Xiaoye had received. It was a piece of news about the exploration of the ancient sect ruins for the martial artists near Songning City. Xiaochen glanced at it, and his heart moved slightly. He didn't know why, but he suddenly thought of the immortal resort in Jiduan City. Behind the resort, there was a back mountain. The spiritual energy in the back mountain was obviously not in line with the law. It was richer than other places. Could it be that the ancient ruins were there? However, Xiao Chen was only guessing. After all, even if he knew, it would be useless. With his strength alone, it would be difficult to find the entrance. When he was in the Xiao family, Xiao Chen had more or less heard about the ancient ruins, but it was a legendary existence. He heard that it required a lot of martial artists to explore together. There were many traps and dangers inside, and many people never returned. But that was also because the people who went to explore were not strong enough. Now that Xiao Chen had the strength close to the peak of Inner Force Stage 9, it shouldn't be a big problem for him to explore. Because Xiao Chen was in Lan City, he temporarily put this message aside and started to look at the second message. The second message was from a stranger, but this stranger's name was familiar to Xiao Chen. It was a person called Clay Den, which was obviously a code name. After thinking about it, other than Clay Den University, Xiao Chen couldn't seem to stop talking about this person. Wait. Xiao Chen suddenly returned to the first message and saw that the person who published the ancient sect ruins was this Clay Den. This made Xiaofan a little surprised. Why did this person send him a private message? Returning to the private message, Xiaofan saw the message. The thing you want is actually the spiritual jade, right? I know where to find this thing. You should have also seen the task entrusted by me. Yes, in the ruins of the ancient sect, there should be spiritual jades, and there is definitely some. In every ancient sect ruins, there will be more or less spiritual jades. I saw that your mission completion rate is 100%, so I really want to work with you. How about it, are you interested? Xiaofan took a deep breath. It seemed that his previous mission had attracted Clayden. However, Xiaofan didn't reply immediately. Instead, he opened the third message. This message was sent by Yi Xiaoya. White Fox, take a look at this mission. Are you interested? If you are, let's sign up together. At least we can look after each other. Xiaofan was a little surprised. He hadn't expected Yi Xiaoya to be interested in this mission. After thinking about it, he replied, sure, let's go together. However, Clayden has already sent me a private message. I'll check it out first. Alright, if it's real, then we'll sign up. Yi Xiaoya's reply came quickly. Xiaofan replied to Clayden, really? If I go, will all the spiritual jade in the ruins belong to me? After sending the message, there was no immediate reply. He didn't know if Clayden was hesitant or didn't see it. After a while, there was a reply, are you an expert above stage 5 inner force? If there are only 1 or 2 spiritual jades in the ruins, you don't want anything else? Yes, I don't want anything else, Xiaofan replied readily. Alright, I don't have any problems on my side. When the time comes, I'll speak to the others as the initiator. If no one objects, then it's fine, Clayden replied. I have 2 experts above stage 5 inner force on my side. They want to participate, but I'm not sure what she wants. We'll talk about it when the time comes, Xiaofan said. Sure. Send me the ID of the warrior guild. I'll record it down, Clayden said. Yi Xiaoya, White Fox. Xiaofan sent it over. When we have more than 5 people, we can set off. I'll let you know when the time comes. By the way, are you free in the near future? Clayden asked. Not for the next few days. I have something to do outside. It should be fine in a few days, Xiaofan said. Definitely not for the next few days. Even if we have enough people, I still have to make preparations. Just in time, we'll contact each other then, Clayden said. Xiaofan replied with, okay, and told Yi Xiaoya about it. Yi Xiaoya said that she understood and waited for White Fox to come back. After Shen Jingxian and the others left, Tan Muwei also left Shen Shanha's courtyard and returned to her own villa. Shen Jingquan went to deal with the affairs of the Shen family, and Tan Muwei secretly called her brother, Tan Muyo. Although the Tan family was currently in the limelight, with her brother being the chief apothecary of Lan City's warrior market and her sister marrying into the Shen family, both of them knew that it was only temporary. If a family wanted to pass on its legacy, it would be impossible without a solid foundation. The marriage between the Tan family and the Shen family would only end in this generation. It was true that Tan Muyo was an apothecary, but he was not a warrior. His lifespan was the same as an ordinary person. If he died, then so be it. The glory of the Tan family would no longer exist. Therefore, the marriage of the next generation of the Tan family became the most important. Tan Muyo had a son called Tan Jita, who was also Tan Muwei's nephew. When he was young, he attended the Shen family's banquets. At that time, he had taken a fancy to Shen Jingxian and had been thinking about her all these years. Although Tan Jita, who was self-proclaimed as one of the 4 young masters of Lan City, had played with many women after his father's rise in status, how could those vulgar women compare to Shen Jingxian? When he was free, he would ask his aunt when Shen Jingxian would return to the Shen family so that he could visit her. Tan Muwei also wanted to facilitate this matter. After all, if Tan Jita and Shen Jingxian got married, then the Tan family could at least continue to exist in the upper class. Tan Mui's thinking was very simple. If Shen Jingxian agreed to the marriage, then she would make the decision and let Shen Zhenghao and his family continue to stay in the Shen family. In her eyes, the person who would get to the top was either her husband or her son. It was impossible for anyone else. "Little sister, how is it? Why did you call me? Is that old thing dying?" Tan Muyo asked. "Don't mention it. That old thing is not dying. What's going on?" Tan Mui was also a little puzzled. Logically speaking, old Master Shen should have died long ago. It was impossible for him to hold on until now. Do the herbs you gave him have the effect of curing poison? How is that possible? Those are just some tonics. They have no effect on curing poison and illness. Tan Muyo said, "This old thing may be a warrior. His physical fitness is good. Let's wait a little longer. We can't rush this. Anyway, it's a matter of time." "That's true." Tan Mui nodded. She was indeed the one who poisoned Shen Shanha because she couldn't wait any longer. If this old thing didn't die, her husband and son would never be able to get to the top. If this dragged on, it was hard to say whether there would be variables in the future. So she took the risk. "By the way, you called me for this?" Tan Muyo asked. "Also, is Tan Jita at home?" Tan Mui asked. "He went out last night and hasn't woken up yet. I'll call him for you." After Tan Muyo finished speaking, she yelled at a room. After a while, Tan Jita's confused voice came from the other side of the phone. "Aunt, are you looking for me? Shen Jingxian is back." Tan Mui said, "Get ready to visit the Shen family and propose marriage. Now your uncle is in charge of the family. If things are done properly, there will be no problem." Chapter 456. Really? Jingxian is back? The voice on the other end of the line, which was originally a little muddled, suddenly rose an octave and became incomparably spirited. "Aunt, what should I do? Should I go now? Tonight? Get ready and dress up. Come with your father and bring some gifts. Then, I will help you settle the matter." Tan Mui said. She didn't care about White Fox at all. These big families all followed the patriarchal system. The head of the family had the highest authority, and so did the acting head. Therefore, in her opinion, it was not a problem to arrange a marriage for Shen Jingxian. White Fox could go back to where it came from. "Okay, I understand. Thank you, Aunt." Tan Kita said happily. He couldn't help but lick his lips when he thought of Shen Jingxian. "Well, behave well," Tan Mui reminded him. Previously, the marriage between Shen Jingxian and the Chen family was approved by old Master Shen. However, after the Chen family brothers died, Shen Jingshuan's matter was temporarily put on hold. As for White Fox, Shen Zhenghao didn't have time to tell old Master Shen. He originally planned to give everyone a surprise when his second grandpa came out of seclusion. Therefore, Tan Mui took the opportunity and ran over to inform Tan Kita of the news. "Don't worry, Aunt. No matter what, I am one of the 4 young masters of Lan City. I am handsome and elegant," Tan Kita said confidently. Tan Mui hung up the phone and sneered. White Fox, an outsider who came from nowhere, wanted to get involved in the Shen family's matter. Tonight, she would let him see the difference between them. Then, he would get lost as soon as possible. What kind of background and ability could a guy who didn't dare to show his real face have? Xiao Chen's lunch was sent by the Shen family's servants. Obviously, the Shen family didn't want to treat him to a meal. Shen Zhenghao's family didn't have a high status in the Shen family, so the Shen family didn't specially welcome them. Like Xiao Chen, they ate fast food sent by the Shen family's servants. At around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, a disciple of the Shen family came to report that an important guest had come to the Shen family. He asked Shen Zhenghao's family and the white fox to go over together. This made Xiaochen a little puzzled. What did the guest of the Shen family have to do with him? However, it didn't matter if he accompanied Shen Jingxian. As soon as Xiaochen went out, he saw Shen Jingxian and the others coming out. Xiaochen went up to them. "White Fox, I'm sorry. I don't have a high status in the Shen family. My father doesn't have the final say. I'm sorry to have neglected you." Shen Jingxian said to Xiaochen apologetically. "That's okay. There are too many problems in the Shen family. We can only take it one step at a time." Xiaochen wanted to solve the problem of Shen Shanhe first. Only when Shen Shanhe was fine could the other problems be solved. Otherwise, even if Xiaochen helped Shen Jingmao get the position of the young master with violence, so what? Don't forget that there was still a key figure in the Shen family. That was Shen Jingshuan's second grandfather. It was said that he was a master among masters. Even if Xiaochen could suppress these people, he was probably not a match for the second grandfather. The few of them went all the way to the first floor of the Shen family's villa. It was a large living room. At this time, two men, one old and one young, were sitting on the sofa. They were chatting happily with Tan Muwei and Shen Zhengquan. When he saw Shen Jingxian and the others enter, the young man's eyes lit up, and he stood up. On the other hand, Tan Muwei turned around with a smile and said, "Jingxian, you're here. Look who's here." "Tan Kita?" Shen Jingxian was slightly stunned. She knew Tan Kita, but she didn't have much contact with him. After all, he was a relative of the first branch. She rarely went back to the Shen family. "Yes, Kita's father is my elder brother. He's your eldest uncle. Today, he came to continue to treat Dad. When Kita heard that you're back, he also came and bought you a lot of gifts," Tan Muwei said. Shen Jingxian was a little unhappy. She knew that Tan Kita had some bad intentions towards her. He had shown it before. She didn't expect that he would not give up. It seemed that the news of her coming back was leaked by Tan Muwei. No wonder she didn't agree when she heard that she had a boyfriend. It was because of Tan Kita. Although she was unhappy, Shen Jingxian had to smile and greet them. "Eldest uncle, cousin Kita, you're here." However, Shen Jingxian deliberately pointed out that they were relatives. Tan Kita was her cousin, so there was no need to think about other things. Tan Kita's eyes flashed with a touch of excitement when he saw Shen Jingxian. He said with a smile, "Jingxian, long time no see. You've become more beautiful. You deserve to be my goddess since I was a child. You're always so radiant." In fact, Tan Kita was a man with a very good appearance. At the moment, he was wearing a decent suit. He had a handsome face and a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. He looked gentle and refined. At first glance, one could tell that he had an extraordinary background. Judging from his appearance alone, he was indeed a very handsome man. However, Xiaochen's six senses were very strong. He could tell at a glance that Tan Kita's complexion was not good. It was obvious that he had overindulged. Wine and women were necessities of his life. He might also have taken some drugs. However, this guy was a warrior. These things were hidden very well. It was not to the extent that it would affect his health and strength. Of course, it was also because he was young. If he was older, there would inevitably be some problems. Really? Shen Jingxian did not want to be entangled with Tan Kita, so she introduced him directly. "This is my boyfriend, White Fox. He came back with me this time. White Fox, this is my cousin, Tan Kita. Play the guitar." Xiaochen was stunned. "What's your relationship with playing the chicken?" "Tan Kita is my younger brother." "What's wrong? Do you know him?" Tan Kita was also stunned. He looked at Xiaochen inexplicably. He thought, could this person be an acquaintance? "It's fine." Xiao was speechless. This family was full of weirdos. This name is too funny. Oh. Tan Kita was a bit inexplicable. He nodded to Xiao and reached out his hand. He said, "White Fox, right? Did we know each other before? Or do you know my younger brother?" Ahem. Tan Muyao's face slightly changed. The White Fox was wearing a mask, so no one could see his emotions. Therefore, it was easy for people to misunderstand his real meaning. However, Tan Muyao was old and shrewd. Thinking about the tone of the White Fox, she knew that it was not a good thing. Therefore, she scolded Tan Kita, "Kita, he doesn't know your brother. He is just joking with you." Just joking. Tan Kita nodded. He did not expect Xiao to scold him. After all, Xiao expression could not be seen through the mask. He still said politely, "In Lan City, I, Tan Kita, am still very useful. White Fox, if you have any problems, you can look for me. I'll help you settle it." Where does White Fox work? In fact, what Tan Kita said before was nonsense. The last sentence was what he wanted to ask. He was a bit unsure about White Fox's background. "I'm Jingshuan's classmate." Xiao shook hands with him and said casually, "I'm just a student. Where else can I work?" Oh. Tan Kita let out a sigh of relief at once. He understood clearly, so he's just a student. Then he doesn't have any background. In the schools of the secular world, the most powerful students are just the children of those aristocratic families. But compared with the Shen family, they are too far behind. Of course, they can't compare with the son of the chief pharmacist. Of course, Tan Kita was also a smart person. He disdained Xiao identity in his heart, but he was still very warm on the surface. He knew that Shen Jingxian was a cheerful and generous person. She hated those petty tricks. Therefore, he could plot against Xiao behind his back, but he still looked very warm on the surface. "Jingxian and I are childhood sweethearts. You're Jingshuan's classmate, so you're also my friend. How about it? Do you have time? I'll take you around Lan City and give me a chance to play host," Tan Kita said warmly. "Forget it." Xiao shook his head and said, "I'm accompanying Jingxian. Now that Grandpa Shen is seriously ill in bed, it's not good for me to go sightseeing. It's better for me to stay here quietly." After listening to Xiao words, Tan Kita was even more sure that he was not a member of a big family. If he was a member of a very powerful family, he would usually be very arrogant. How could he abide by the rules of the Shen family? He guessed that he was just an ordinary classmate of Shen Jingxian. He did not know how he got the favor of Shen Jingxian. However, this kind of relationship was very fragile. As long as he gave him some benefits, it would not be difficult to get him. The only thing that puzzled Tan Kita was, why was this White Fox wearing a mask? Was he ashamed to meet people? It doesn't matter. We can't stop living because of Grandpa Shen's illness, right? Tan Kita said with a smile, "I believe that Jingxian will understand, and so will the Shen family." "Yes, White Fox. Since you are a guest of the Shen family, it's not suitable to take you out to play with the Shen family's current situation. However, since Kita has the heart, let him take you around," Shen Jingquan said. He was now the person in charge of the Shen family, so he naturally represented the Shen family when he spoke. "Okay, let's talk about it later," Xiao casually replied and did not take it to heart. If it was said that Tan Kita was sincerely inviting him out to play, even Xiao himself would not believe it. This guy was obviously interested in Shen Jingxian. How could he treat him with sincerity? However, because of Shen Jingshuan's reputation, Xiao did not directly refute Shen Jingquan. "Dad, let's go and see Grandpa Shen together," Tan Kita said. "Okay, Jingquan, is old Shen awake? Can we go and see him now?" Tan Muyao asked. It should be about time. Shen Jingquan nodded and said, let's go up together. Then, these people went upstairs together to see Shen Shanhe. On the way, Tan Kita was still talking to Xiao Chen. White Fox, why are you wearing a mask? Oh, it's the mental cultivation method that I practice. It can't be exposed to light, Xiao Chen said. Chapter 457. Oh. You are also a martial artist? Tan Jita was slightly surprised. He didn't expect Xiao Chen to be a martial artist. Then you should not be an ordinary student, right? Which family are you from? I am not from a family. Xiao Chen said. Oh. Then you are a rogue cultivator. It is not easy to be a rogue cultivator. After Tan Jita heard this, his heart calmed down. Then what is your strength now? Not much strength, still very weak. Xiao Chen said. There was still a certain distance to reach the foundation stage. Oh, practicing martial arts is indeed very tiring. Look at me, I'm already a martial artist at the 6th layer of inner strength. However, this is also thanks to my father being the chief pharmacist of the Lon City Martial Artists Market. He often refines medicinal liquids and pills for me. Tan Jita said until here. He was probably a few steps behind the group in front of him. Then he directly asked, White Fox, let's not beat around the bush. You like Jingxian, right? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. He didn't expect Tan Jita to suddenly ask this. But he quickly replied, I am her boyfriend. Naturally, I like her. Why do you ask? Very well, to be honest, I like her too. Tan Jita looked at Xiao Chen and said honestly, of course, I heard that Jingxian is the goddess of the masses, so it's normal for you to like her. But have you ever thought about it? Marriage is about matching families. In order to ensure their own prosperity, big families will marry families that match their family status. Even if there is a gap, it will not be too big. The Shen family is a martial arts family. So, the marriage of the children of the Shen family is a very serious issue. Oh, and then? Xiao Chen nodded and asked. You still don't understand what I mean? Tan Jita was a little depressed. How can this guy not understand what I'm talking about? It was already so obvious, and he still asked me then? I understand. So, you are saying that I am not good enough for Shen Jingxian? Xiao Chen laughed. It seems like you understand. That's good. Tan Jita breathed a sigh of relief. Talking to smart people is really refreshing. Since you are also a martial artist, then I won't say anything else. How about this, you break up with Jingxian, I can give you some cultivation resources that you can't even imagine. I'm not interested. Cultivation is just my side job, Xiao Chen said. What do you mean? What's your main profession? Tan Jita was slightly taken aback. Of course, my main job is to woo Goddess Shen, Xiao Chen said with a smile. Pfft. Tan Jita almost choked to death on his own saliva. He stared at Xiao Chen with widened eyes. After a while, he said, Brat, don't be so shameless. Who do you think you are? Believe it or not, I can make sure that you won't be able to leave Lon City alive. What? Since you can't entice me, you're starting to threaten me? Xiao Chen said coldly, do you think that the warrior guild won't care if you kill people indiscriminately? You're right. My father is the chief apothecary of Lon City's warrior market. Even the president of Lon City's warrior guild needs my father's help. Tan Jita said arrogantly, moreover, do you think that I will leave any evidence if I kill you? So, if I don't agree, I will die, right? Xiao Chen asked in return. You can understand it that way. Tan Jita said proudly. Alright, I don't want to live anymore. Xiao Chen finished speaking and walked away quickly. Damn it, this brat can't be thinking that I'm joking, right? Looking at Xiao Chen leaving in a carefree manner, as if he was not threatened at all, Tangita was a little depressed. He shook his head and said, "It seems that these loose cultivators still think that the martial arts world is the same as the secular world, where people can't be killed indiscriminately." When they arrived at Xiaofan's room, Tan Muyo pretended to take Xiaofan's pulse, then said worriedly, "The old man's problem doesn't seem to be getting better. He should be getting old and his body is failing. In this kind of situation, even a deity would be powerless to save him." "Thank you, Xiao Tan. I understand my own problem. It's rare for you to come over and take my pulse whenever you're free." Xiaofan thanked him. "Old Shen, you're too polite. Because of Xiao Wei, I'm considered your junior. As a junior, I naturally have to be more attentive. Moreover, I'm a apothecary." Tan Muyo said this and sighed, "I can only blame myself for not being skilled in medicine. There's nothing I can do." I've already gotten over it. It doesn't matter." Xiaofan smiled and said, "I'm just worried about the Shen family." When Shen Jingquan heard this, he suddenly felt uncomfortable in his heart. He secretly cursed, "You old fart. You've held the power of the family for so many years, yet you don't know how to give up your position. Choosing a young master requires a comprehensive examination. You don't even care about me, the eldest son." In fact, Xiaofan did not decide on the heir of the family. It was also out of consideration for the future of the Shen family. The Shen family was for the capable. Xiaofan knew that this was the only way to ensure the prosperity of the family. "Actually, I still have a last resort." When Tan Muyo said this, his words paused as if he wanted to say something but stopped. "Oh. Brother, what else is there? Tell me quickly. As long as it can cure father's illness, it's not a problem no matter how difficult and troublesome it is." Tan Muwei said quickly. Xiao Chen looked coldly at Tan Muwei and Tan Muyo, who were putting on a show. Xiao Chen was almost sure that Xiaofan's illness was caused by them. Now they were still putting on a show in front of him. It was really disgusting. However, before Xiao Chen thought of a solution, it was not bad to watch them put on a show. When Gita was young, I took him to a master to teach him pharmacology and knowledge of medicinal properties, but this kid's mind was not on pharmacists. He liked to practice martial arts and later became a warrior. Tan Muyo said, and his master has now become a famous pharmacist. He now works in the Warriors Market of the Warriors Guild headquarters. Now he has become the chief pharmacist of the Warriors Guild headquarters. If he is willing to come forward to treat him, there is still a glimmer of hope. Oh. Then hurry up and find that powerful pharmacist. Tan Muwei said quickly. The brother and sister were so well coordinated that they could even act in a movie. My personal relationship with him is not that good. In the past, I just asked a friend to take Gita as a master. After all, Gita doesn't listen to me. I taught him, but he didn't listen. So I thought of finding someone for him. Tan Muyo said, however, Gita and his master have been in contact all these years. If Gita comes forward, it is still possible to invite him. Then what are you waiting for? Gita, call your powerful master and ask him to help treat your grandpa Shen. Tan Muwei said. Aunt, I want to. Tan Gita said with a wry smile, do you think I didn't call him before? However, people at my master's level rarely meddle in other people's business. He will refuse ordinary people who look for him. Otherwise, there are countless people looking for him every day. He doesn't need to do anything else. He can't deal with these people who ask him for help. Aren't you his disciple? There should be no problem, right? Tan Muwei said. I have no problem. But the affairs of the Shen family are not my business. Tan Gita explained helplessly, in fact, I have no direct relationship with the Shen family. And my master can't interfere with such things just because my aunt married into the Shen family. He will only interfere if I have a relationship with the Shen family. Think about it, if everyone who knows him asks him for help on behalf of their relatives and friends, wouldn't he be too busy? So my master made a rule that even if it's an acquaintance, it can only be his own business. Other than that, he will not come out of the mountain. Then it's difficult. Tan Muwei was a little disappointed. At this time, Shen Jingquan said, in fact, it's not impossible. I know that Gita has always liked Jingxian. They are childhood sweethearts. How about this, if they get engaged, then the affairs of the Shen family will be Gita's business. Jingxian, are you willing to marry Gita for your grandpa? Shen Jingxuan's face turned red. She wasn't good at scheming, but even if she wasn't good at it, at this time, she understood that Tan Muyo, Tan Muwei, Tan Jita, and Shen Jingquan were all acting. In the end, their goal was the matter between her and Tan Jita. Jingxian, do you want to see your grandpa go on like this? Tan Muwei questioned, don't you have any filial piety? Why are you still hesitating? In my opinion, it's just a formality whether they have a relationship or not. How about letting Tan Gita recognize Elder Shen as his foster grandpa? Isn't that fine? Xiao Chen said indifferently, the affairs of the foster grandpa are Tan Gita's own business. Will his master not help him? How can it be the same? Foster grandpa is not reliable at all. Tan Muwei said, it's just talk. It can't be proven. Why should he help him, right, Gita? Of course. Tan Gita nodded and said, but if Jingxian is my wife, then there will be no problem. At that time, Medicine Master Ji will definitely come forward to help. Jingxian, what do you think? Shen Jingquan looked at Shen Jingxian and asked, then looked at Shen Zhenghao, Zhenghao, what do you think about this? Shen Jingmao clenched his fists at the side. There were a few times when he wanted to flare up, but he knew that the Shen family would not tolerate his impudence. There was no place for him to speak, and no one would listen to him. Alright, don't make things difficult for the child. At this moment, Shen Shanha suddenly said, I know my own problem. Even if another pharmacist came, it would be difficult to cure my problem. Let's not talk about this anymore. Hearing Shen Shanha's words, the room immediately quieted down. Tan Muwei was a little unwilling, but there was nothing she could do. She could only wait until she went downstairs to persuade Shen Jingxian and Shen Zhenghao. Chapter 458. Okay, I'm tired. I'm going to rest. You guys can leave now. Shen Shanha gasped for breath. He looked tired and closed his eyes. Obviously, he was disappointed with the children of the Shen family. Although he was sick, he wasn't confused. He was clear about the little tricks that Tan Muwei and Tan Muyo used, but their reasons were high-sounding, so he couldn't say anything. Moreover, he didn't want to die, but he had no choice. However, if he had to sacrifice the happiness of the younger generation, he would rather not do it. He was a selfless person. For the sake of the Shen family, he could give up a lot. The current situation was a little out of control. Every day, the fight between the first branch and the second branch exhausted him mentally and physically. Now, Shen Jingxian was involved. Shen Shanha was really a little tired. The people in the room left the room, went downstairs, and returned to the living room again. At this time, the atmosphere was a little silent. Zhenghao, think about what I said before. Shen Jingquan said to Shen Zhenghao directly. She didn't put Xiao Chen in her eyes at all. She directly treated him as heir. For the sake of the Shen family, this marriage is good for both you and me. I can guarantee that if you agree, your branch will stay in the Shen family, and you will be responsible for the Shen family's affairs. Shen Jingxuan's condition made Shen Zhenghao slightly stunned. However, he had seen the power of White Fox. At this moment, although he didn't know why White Fox had been enduring, he couldn't agree to Shen Jingxuan's condition. Moreover, his ambition wasn't small. He wanted Shen Jingmao to be the next leader. He wasn't satisfied with just staying in the Shen family. If that happened, all his previous efforts would be in vain. There's nothing to think about. I respect Jingshuan's decision, Shen Zhenghao said coldly. His words surprised Xiao Chen. Shen Zhenghao shouldn't be such a loyal person, but he probably saw that Xiao Chen was much stronger than Tan Jita. However, he couldn't say anything in this situation. After all, no one would believe him if he boasted about how awesome the white fox was. Shen Zhenghao left the villa with Shen Jingxian, Shen Jingmao, and Xiao Chen. Shen Zhengquan looked at their backs, and a trace of gloom flashed across his eyes. Although he was the acting family head now, his words didn't have any effect, which made him very angry. Uncle-in-law. Tan Jita looked at Shen Jingxuan's back as he left, and a greedy look flashed across his eyes. This matter, it doesn't matter. You can pursue him normally. As for that white fox, if you can't do it, use some tricks to kill him. As long as he's dead, everything will be easy. Shen Zhengquan did not put Xiao Chen in her eyes at all. I understand, Tan Jita said with a sinister smile. Shen Jingxian and the others returned to their villa, while Xiao Chen returned to his guest room. After returning, there was nothing else to do, so he began to brew the medicinal liquid. Xiao Chen was used to brewing the medicinal liquid at night, and the devil centipede fruit just happened to be effective. Who knew that just as he finished brewing the electric clay pot, the doorbell would ring? Xiao Chen thought that it was the Shen family's servant who came to deliver dinner, but when he opened the door, it wasn't. There was nothing in the person's hands. Who are you looking for? Xiao Chen asked in puzzlement. Mr. White Fox. The Shen family disciple at the door said, Old Master Shen asked me to look for you alone. I'm his servant. Oh. Xiao Chen was a little surprised. Shen Shanhe is looking for me? Didn't he just see me? Therefore, Xiao Chen looked at the person at the door suspiciously. Is he Shen Shanhe's servant? Could it be that Shen Zhengquan or Tan Jita found someone to trick me out and then harm me? However, after thinking about it, Xiao Chen did not mind it. His current strength was already considered at the peak of cultivators. If Shen Zhengquan and Tan Jita wanted to harm him, he could just kill them. That way, no one would know. Now? Asked Xiao Chen. Yes, Old Master said that if you have time, you can go over. He has something to tell you, said the Shen family disciple. Alright, please lead the way, Xiao Chen said straightforwardly. The Shen family disciple nodded and walked in front. Xiao Chen followed behind him. In the end, they really came to the previous villa again, which surprised Xiao Chen. After entering the villa, they went upstairs smoothly. They didn't expect to be besieged by Shen Zhengquan and Tan Jita. They stopped at the door of Shen Shanhe's room, where Xiao Chen had just left. The Shen family disciple knocked on the door, and Shen Shanhe's tired voice came from inside. Is it White Fox, my friend? Please come in. Mr. White Fox, please. I won't go in. The Shen family disciple made a gesture and said. Xiao Chen pushed the door and saw Shen Shanhe lying on the bed alone. When he saw Xiao Chen come in, he forced a smile and said, White Fox, do whatever you want. Okay. Xiao Chen sat casually in front of Shen Shanhe's bed and asked curiously, Grandpa Shen, why did you ask me to come here again? I believe that you should have seen my problem during the day, but you didn't say it. Shen Shanhe said, my problem, actually, I know. It's incurable. That's not necessarily true, Grandpa Shen. I will think of a way. Xiao Chen didn't quite understand the meaning of Shen Shanhe's words, but he still comforted him. You don't have to persuade me. In fact, from your expression, I can see that you really know medicine. Shen Shanhe said, it's just that my body is not sick. Xiao Chen was slightly stunned, but it seemed that although Shen Shanhe was sick, he was not stupid. His mind was still clear. He nodded and said, yes, Grandpa Shen, you are poisoned. The poison is in my injured part, and it can't be resolved. Shen Shanha sighed and said, if I leave, I don't know what will become of the Shen family. I don't want to find out who poisoned me. It's just a few people, so Grandpa Shen knows, then I won't say more. Xiao Chen was very surprised that Shen Shanha seemed to know everything. The prosperity of the Shen family relies on unity, but the second generation of the Shen family is like this. I saw it before, so I didn't choose the successor of the young master from them. I planned to choose directly from the third generation. Shen Shanha said, but, I didn't expect that I would be tricked. I really can't rest assured where the Shen family will go in the future. Xiao Chen nodded. Big families also had their sorrows. Families like the Xiao family were already like this, not to mention a real martial arts family like the Shen family. So, the only way the Shen family can maintain its current status is to rely on marriage. Otherwise, with Zheng Quan's ability, the Shen family will soon decline. Shen Shanha said, he can't be the master. Xiao Chen frowned slightly and didn't understand what Shen Shanha meant. Actually, among the children of the third generation, I am more optimistic about Jing Mao. Shen Shanha continued, but I am not optimistic about Zheng Hao. He is a mercenary. I didn't like him since I was a child, but it doesn't affect my love for Jing Mao. So, if Jing Mao wants to be the master, then Jingshuan's marriage will become particularly important. White Fox, do you understand what I mean? You mean, let me leave Jingxian and let her marry Tanjita's Tan family? Asked Xiao Chen. Tanjita? No. Shen Shanha smiled and shook his head, I'm talking about you, White Fox. Me? Xiao Chen thought that Shen Shanha also wanted to persuade him to separate from Shen Jingxian, but it didn't seem to be the case. I heard about Songning. I've been paying attention to Jing Mao. Shen Shanha said, you are young, but you are already a demonic cultivator at the 8th stage of inner strength. Your future is limitless, so I am very relieved that you are with Jingxian. But, can the demonic star sect fully support Jing Mao's ascension? Oh. Xiao Chen was really surprised this time. He didn't expect Shen Shanha to know so much even though he was lying in bed. Judging from the attitude of the Shen family today, these people didn't know who he was at all. But it was no wonder. Shen Zhenghao and Shen Jingmao were both marginal figures in the Shen family. Who would pay attention to them? Not to mention paying attention to White Fox. White Fox's name was only famous in Songning. If the Shen family didn't care about him, then it was normal that they didn't know. However, Shen Shanha even knew that he was at the 8th stage of inner strength. Obviously, he paid special attention to him. One had to know that the 8th stage of inner strength was just broken through when he fought against Leng Youxiang. It was only revealed at the end. I don't think the demonic star sect will. Xiao Chen told the truth. He knew his own family well. He had nothing to do with the demonic star sect, so he couldn't lie to Shen Shanha. That's true. How can a sect participate in the battle of the Zhenwu family? Shen Shanha was a little disappointed, the 8th stage of inner strength is still a little weak. Zheng Quan is at the 8th stage of inner strength. You guys are only tied. You can't suppress him. If second uncle also supports Zheng Quan, then Jing Mao will have no chance at all. That second uncle doesn't care about family affairs, right? Why would he support Uncle Jingshuan's side? Xiao Chen asked. Although he doesn't care about these things, he doesn't want the Shen family to have endless infighting. So, letting Zheng Quan take over is the simplest and easiest way. If it's someone else, it won't be legitimate and it'll take a lot of effort. So, of course, if I leave, Zheng Quan will definitely take over. Shen Shanha sighed, I guess this unfilial son is aware of this, so he dares to act recklessly. Tan Muyo? Humph, what a shitty pharmacist. He gave me some bad medicine. Is he trying to make me die? Pfft. Xiao Chen coughed twice and said, I'll try my best. As long as you agree to let Jing Mao take over, then I'll have the confidence to stir up trouble in the Shen family. You want to use force? Shen Shanhe was slightly stunned. I can't say force, but I won't let Shen Jingquan get what he wants. Xiao Chen said, I just don't know how strong the second uncle is. Chapter 459. This. In fact, I don't know. Before the retreat, I was at the peak of the 10th level. Shen Shanhe said. Is that so? Xiao Chen was shocked. If he was at the peak of the 10th level, after he consolidated his strength, there was still a possibility of fighting. However, if he broke through to the martial master realm, then there was really nothing he could do. You'd better not think about changing my uncle's mind because he is a stubborn person. Shen Shanhe said, he is very self-centered. It is difficult for others to change what he has decided. Okay, I will think of a way. Xiao Chen nodded. By the way, if you are cured, then the matters of the Shen family will not be decided by others, right? In theory, yes, but if Shen Jingxuan's ascension is a foregone conclusion, it will be useless even if I am cured. Shen Shanhe sighed. Besides, it is impossible for me to be cured. My poison cannot be cured. No one can cure it. In fact, in addition to Tan Mue, I have also looked for other pharmacists. Don't think that all these years, I am the head of the Shen family for nothing. I also have my own connections. Understood, then I will go back first. Xiao Chen said. If the Devil Star sect does not intervene, then, you should go back with Jingxian and leave the Shen family. Don't get involved in these things. It is not good for you. Shen Shanhe said, you can set up your own sect in Songning or take them to the Devil Star sect. In short, don't stay in Lan City. Tan Mue is narrow-minded. If Jingxian does not marry Tan Jita, then you will be in danger. It is not certain who will be in danger. Xiao Chen blinked his eyes and left Shen Shanhe's room. Xiao Chen left Shen Shanhe's villa and returned to his room. He felt a little emotional. It seemed that Shen Shanhe understood very well. It was just that the situation of the Shen family was too complicated for him to control. If he jumped out to question Shen Jingquan, then he would probably die faster. Shen Jingquan would definitely kill him. It could be seen that Shen Shanhe didn't want to die just like that. He was worried about the Shen family. He knew about the White Fox's background and wanted to use the Devil Star sect's influence to stabilize the Shen family. He said that he was optimistic about Shen Jingmao, but he might not really be optimistic about Shen Jingmao. Perhaps at the moment, Shen Jingmao was the only one who did not have ulterior motives. After all, Shen Jingmao's strength was clear for all to see. He was at level 5 inner force, which wasn't low at all. Although he would be considered a young talent in an ordinary family, he was nothing in the martial arts clan. The medicinal herbs cooked in the electric clay pot were ready. Xiao Chen directly consumed the medicinal herbs and began to train, consolidating his 8th level Qi refinement realm strength. The night passed uneventfully. Early the next morning, Xiao Chen let out a long breath. The peak of the 8th level Qi refinement realm. Perhaps it was because of the change of medicinal herbs, the first medicinal herb was especially effective. Or perhaps there was still some demonic energy left in his body. In short, Xiao Chen consolidated his strength in one fell swoop and climbed to the peak of the 8th level Qi refinement realm, which surprised him. Wasn't it too fast? It was a little unreal. Moreover, he didn't feel any pain when he took the medicine this time. It was obviously the effect of the devil stump fruit. It was really a good thing. Elder Heaven Ancestor, am I very powerful? Xiao Chen said with some arrogance. I realized that I'm really a genius. I've never seen such a shameless person. A while ago, your strength stagnated and you sighed. Have you forgotten about it so quickly? Elder Heaven Ancestor snorted coldly. Xiao Chen naturally didn't forget about it. It was just that things had been going smoothly recently, which made him feel a little smug again. As soon as he finished cultivating, the doorbell rang. Xiaofan walked over and opened the door. He was a little surprised to see Tangita. "White Fox, how about I take you out for a walk?" Tangita said. "The scenery of Lan City is very beautiful. A small place like Songning can't compare. You take me out? Are you trying to persuade me to separate from Shenjingxian, or find a place to beat me up?" Xiaofan asked. "You?" Tangita was obviously stunned by Xiaofan's straightforwardness. His face turned a little red. That was indeed what he was thinking. On the surface, he was asking Xiaofan to take a walk, but in reality, he was asking him to give up on Shenjingxian. If he didn't comply, he would beat him up and let him know how powerful he was. However, he didn't expect that Xiaofan would expose him on the spot. Tangita's face turned a little ugly and he was in a dilemma. "Hee, let's go." Xiaofan smiled. Even if Tangita didn't look for him, he still wanted to end the matter here. Shen Shanhe had made it clear to him, so even if Xiaofan intervened in the affairs of the Shen family, it wouldn't be considered a busybody. "Great." Tangita was stunned and said, "Now, I'm a little impressed by your courage. You're a man. However, you should understand that sometimes courage is useless. The cultivation world pays attention to strength, not courage. No matter how much courage you have, it's useless if you don't have the strength." "You mean, you really want to beat me up?" Xiaofan looked at Tangita with a puzzled face. "No way. I was joking before." Tangita was a little speechless. Damn, it turned out that this guy was joking. He thought he was really brave, but it turned out that he didn't dare to do anything to him. This made Tangita feel like he was punching cotton. No matter how arrogant you were, it was useless if the other party didn't know about it. "No, I'm treating you to some fun," Tangita said. "I knew it. No matter what, I'm a guest of the Shen family. You're here to accompany me on behalf of the Shen family, so you can't neglect me." Xiaofan said, "By the way, I heard that Lan City is rich in antiques. Why don't you show me around and give me two?" "Antiques?" Tangita's expression became a little strange. This white fox was really ignorant and fearless. How dare he ask for something from me? He was a little annoyed. "I'm giving it to you. Do you dare to take it back?" "Why wouldn't I dare to take something from you, brother Jita?" Xiaofan smiled and said, "Aren't you taking me to go shopping? It's fine if we're just going to some scenic area. We're two men, so it's easy for people to misunderstand." "Then what do you mean?" Tangita was a little mad. "Nothing. I just won't go if you don't give me an antique." Xiaofan stopped after he finished speaking. Tangita really wanted to beat up Xiaofan on the spot. What kind of person was he? Not only did he go back on his words, but he was also shameless enough to ask for something from someone else. However, Tangita changed his mind. He was going to teach Xiaofan a lesson anyway, so it was fine to let him have some fun for the time being. Thus, he said, "All right, what do you want? I'll give it to you. You should have said so earlier. I know that your father is the chief apothecary and your family is filthy rich." Xiaofan patted Tangita's shoulder. Tangita sneered in his heart. "How dare you pat my shoulder? You're so disrespectful. You're going to cry later." The two of them went all the way out of the Shen family's villa area. In the parking lot of the Shen family's courtyard, a BMW X6M was parked. Tangita opened the door, and Xiaofan got in the car. Tangita's mouth flashed a trace of a sneer. The car started and drove all the way to the city's most high-end antique market. On the way, Tangita didn't even bother to talk to Xiaofan. He originally wanted to persuade Xiaofan not to refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit, but this guy looked very arrogant. To deal with such a person, it was to make him afraid. If he was beaten into submission, then everything would be solved. After parking the car in the parking lot in front of the antique market, Tanjita got off the car with Xiaofan. As soon as they got off, two people came over. "Young Master Tan, what a coincidence. How come you have time to visit the antique market?" Who is this beside you? Why is he wearing a mask? Is this the clown you hired? Let me introduce you. This is White Fox. I heard that he is Jingshuan's boyfriend. I brought him here to take a look." Before Tanjita could finish, the leader of the two people wearing a black trench coat reached out and pushed Xiaofan. "Young Master Tan, who is this? Why is he so arrogant? Isn't Jingxian the sister-in-law? How did he become her boyfriend?" The man in black was called Zheng Chenghu, one of the 4 young masters of Lan City. The 4 young masters of Lan City, as the name suggested, were made up of 4 people. The eldest was naturally Shen Jingtian from the Shen family, the second was Tanjita, the third was the man in black, Zheng Chenghu, whose father was the vice president of the Lan City Warrior Guild, and the fourth was Ma Jinhan, whose father was the second shopkeeper of Lan City's warrior market. These people all had deep backgrounds. It could be said that in the martial arts world of Lan City, these 4 people could call the wind and summon the rain. Today, Zheng Chenghu and Ma Jinhan were secretly invited by Tanjita to help. The eldest Shen Jingtian would not be able to make an appearance, but it did not matter to the two of them. That's right. I've heard of people pretending to be pretentious before, but I've never heard of pretending to be a fox and wearing a mask. Do you think you're Spider-Man? Ma Jinhan sneered sarcastically. However, Xiaofan did not pay attention to him. He only flashed away from Zheng Chenghu's hand and said to Tanjita, "Little Tan, do you know these idiots? Is there something wrong with their brains?" Tanjita was a little stunned. Who in Lan City would dare to scold them? However, Xiaofan had scolded them and even asked him if he knew these 2 idiots. How was he supposed to answer? Did he know them or not? It didn't seem right. Zheng Chenghu and Ma Jinhan also widened their eyes. They had received a text message from Tanjita today. He was here to teach a country bumpkin a lesson and humiliate him. He wanted to let him know the martial arts world and what a true master was. Therefore, they had always felt that this was a very relaxing and pleasant thing to do. They had done this kind of thing countless times, and their opponents were all scared witless and kowtowed to admit their mistakes. However, this person actually dared to scold them? Originally, according to the plan, Zheng Chenghu and Ma Jinhan would each humiliate Xiaofan with a sentence and continuously raise Tanjita's background. Then, Xiaofan would retreat in the face of difficulties. If he persisted in going about things the wrong way, then they would show their strength and directly intimidate this country bumpkin from a small place like Songning. However, to their surprise, before they could even say 2.5 sentences, the country bumpkin in front of them turned the tables and directly insulted them as idiots. Chapter 460. Who are you scolding? Zheng Chenghu asked with a gloomy expression. Of course I'm scolding you. Don't you think that your actions just now were no different from that of an idiot? Xiaofan replied calmly, Is there any point in acting? Your acting wasn't that good. Are you a clown hired by a monkey? Who are you calling a monkey? Tanjita jumped out with a whoosh and pointed at White Fox as if his tail had been stepped on. Pfft! Xiaofan was a little speechless. This was a confession without being pressed. He had thought that Tanjita, the mastermind, would have a higher IQ. He didn't expect that he would be even lower than Chao Yuliang and Chen Jinpeng. However, it wasn't surprising at times. These young masters had always been high and mighty in Lan City. Stepping on others didn't require IQ at all. It was a one-sided crushing of strength. What I meant was that Chenghu and Jin Han are my friends. White Fox, it's not good to scold him like that, right? Tanjita knew that he had misspoken and hurriedly explained. Xiaofan looked at Tanjita and said earnestly, actually, I think it's better if you don't play with these two anymore. There's something wrong with their intellect. When they were young, they weren't fully developed. If you play with them, your IQ will easily be dragged down. Do you know why Shen Jingxian doesn't like you? It's because she doesn't like idiots. Kid, who are you scolding when you talk about idiots every time you open your mouth? I'll give you a chance now. Get the F***CK out of Lon City immediately and you can still keep your life. Otherwise, I'm not afraid of threatening you. If you don't leave now, you won't be able to leave tonight. Zheng Qinghu sneered with a sinister expression, when that time comes, no one will be able to protect you. Even if you hide in the Shen family, it won't work. I can't leave. Why don't you demonstrate for me? Xiao Chen scratched his head and said, if I can't leave, then I can't leave. It just so happens that I want to stay for a while. However, you mean that there won't be any cars at night, so I can only disguise myself as a wheel and get the F***CK out of Lon City? Is that what you mean? Quack. Zheng Qinghu was stunned, and so was Ma Jinhan. Both of them looked at Xiao Chen in astonishment. Previously, they thought that Xiao Chen was scolding them when he said to demonstrate, but after listening to the latter part of his words, they realized that the one with the IQ problem was the kid in front of them. Brat, I'll tell you the truth. If you don't get lost, we'll kill you. Zheng Qinghu said. But I don't know how to do it. Xiao Chen said. Then there's no other way, just wait for your death. Ma Jinhan snorted coldly. Why don't you two give me a demonstration? As soon as Xiao Chen's voice fell, he made his move without any warning. To be exact, he made a kick. Zheng Qinghu and Ma Jinhan were both kicked in the crotch by Xiao Chen. The two of them screamed and rolled on the ground while covering their crotches. Then, Xiao Chen calmly turned his head and looked at Tan Jita as if nothing had happened. Little Tan, your two friends are really nice people. Show me how to do it. Tan Jita's face turned a little green. He knew Zheng Qinghu and Ma Jinhan's strength. They were both stage 6 inner force martial artists, one level lower than him. However, they were already the cream of the crop among the younger generation. They were actually kicked by Xiao Chen to the point where they were rolling on the ground. Although it was a sneak attack, it was still fast enough, that White Fox. Tan Jita pulled Xiao Chen to the side and whispered, oh no, you've offended them. You won't have a good life. Why don't you apologize to them and I'll mediate between them. After that, you can leave Lon City immediately. Maybe they'll let you go. I don't have any other skills, but I know how to offend people. I'll forget about the apology. Thank you for your kindness. Shall we go buy some antiques? Xiao Chen glanced at Tan Jita and said directly. Huh? Tan Jita was a little stunned. He didn't know if this Xiao Chen was careless or careless. He was already in such a state, yet he wasn't nervous at all. He could not help but say in a low voice, of the two of them, that Zheng Qinghu is the son of the Warrior Guild's Vice President Zheng, and that Ma Jinhan is the son of shopkeeper Ma of the Warriors Market. Do you think you will have a good ending after offending them? Didn't you say you were going to buy antiques for me? Are you still going to buy them? Xiao Chen asked a question that didn't answer it. This. Tan Jita glanced at Zheng Qinghu from the corner of his eyes. To be honest, he didn't expect things to turn out this way. This Xiao Chen was able to kick Zheng Qinghu and Ma Jinhan to such a state, so his strength was at least on par with his own. It seemed that he had underestimated his enemy and didn't take him seriously. Zheng Qinghu winked at Tan Jita. The three of them usually played together and had a tacit understanding of each other. With just one look, Tan Jita knew that Zheng Qinghu meant to calm down Xiao Chen first, while he went to get reinforcements. Thinking of this, Tan Jita nodded and said, well, since the White Fox is interested, let's go in and have a look. Tan Jita couldn't figure out how this White Fox's brain worked. Should he say that he was courageous, or was there something wrong with his brain? Didn't he know fear? Or was he a student and a rogue cultivator who simply didn't know the cruelty of the martial arts world? Xiao Chen naturally saw Tan Jita and Zheng Qinghu exchanging glances. He guessed that Zheng Qinghu might have gone to get reinforcements, but Xiao Chen didn't mind. Since he had Shen Shanha's token, allowing him to intervene in the affairs of the Shen family, the first thing he had to do now was to establish his prestige. Strength was not something that could be spoken of, but displayed. Although he could tell the Shen family to let them investigate how awesome he was at the Songning Righteous and Demonic Summit, what was the use of that? What he heard and what he saw were two different concepts. Therefore, Xiao Chen didn't mind Tan Jita making things bigger. The bigger it was, the more opportunities he would have. This was like a doze hitting a pillow. Watching Xiao Chen and Tan Jita enter the antique market, Zheng Qinghu got up from the ground. Xiao Chen's kick was not light, and his balls were almost broken. Although he was a martial artist, he didn't practice the iron ball skill. Covering his lower body, he limped to the car on the side of the road. Ma Jinhan also stumbled behind and got in the car. Brother Hu, this kid's strength is not weak. No wonder he is so pretentious. Ma Jinhan said, with just the two of us, we can't take revenge. Let's find someone. I have the same intention. However, I can contact a group of martial artists to help, but the cost. Zheng Qinghu's father was the vice president of Lan City's warrior guild. Naturally, he knew some experts. However, to invite these people to help, reputation alone was not enough. He had to spend money. Money is not a problem. Brother Hu, don't worry. We don't have anything else, but our family is rich. Ma Jinhan's father was the vice manager of the warriors' market. Of course, how much could a vice manager earn? However, with the authority of this position, he had earned a lot of dirty money. Ma Jinhan was also full of confidence. Zheng Qinghu nodded. In fact, he also had a little money. However, he was working for Tan Jita. Even if he spent the money, he might not be able to get it back. Naturally, he wouldn't be a fool. However, Ma Jinhan was different. His family was rich, so he didn't care about this. He took out his phone from his pocket. After thinking for a while, he posted some targeted missions on the Warriors Guild's platform. In other words, only the designated people could receive the mission. It's done. 6 experts have been called. We can handle this lineup, right? Don't let the higher-ups know. Zheng Qinghu was a little nervous after calling the people. After all, the president of the Warriors Guild and his father were not of one mind. If they took the opportunity to make a fuss, it would be troublesome. It's okay. This time, we are standing up for Brother Kita. When the time comes, Brother Kita will take the blame for us. Ma Jinhan said indifferently, 6 is not too little. What level are they, and how much money? 6 is not too little. 2 7th stage, 2 peak 7th stage, 1 8th stage, and even 1 peak 8th stage. Zheng Qinghu said, just now, we were hot-headed and picked ruthless people. Now, don't you think we are making a mountain out of a molehill? Sure, kill him. Do it well. Brother Kita will not treat us badly. Ma Jinhan said. Although these two people's families were also very powerful, Tan Jita's father was an apothecary. He could often help them get some rare medicinal liquids and pills. These were things that even their father would have a hard time getting. That's right. These people asked for a total of 10 million. Zheng Qinghu said. No problem. Ma Jinhan readily agreed. One could imagine how much dirty money his father had gotten from his position as the vice shopkeeper. Tan Jita looked at the message on his phone and a cold smile appeared on his face. 6 martial artists, and one of them was at the peak 8th stage. This time, the white fox was dead. Xiao Chen's 6 senses were sharp. With a slight glance, he saw the contents of Tan Jita's message. He sneered in his heart and pointed at an ancient jade. "Little Tan, this ancient jade is not bad. Buy it for me." Oh. Tanjita was immersed in the excitement of a group of masters coming and directly crushing the white fox. When he suddenly heard the white fox's words, he was a little impatient. A person who was about to die still wanted to buy things. "Buy my ass." So he said, "What ancient jade? It doesn't look good. Forget it. Let's walk around." "You're not buying it for me?" Xiaofan asked. "It's not that I don't want to buy it. It's useless and not good looking. Let's look at other things," Tanjita said. "Oh, then forget it. I see that you don't want to buy it. I'm going back to the Shen family. You walk around by yourself. It's boring," Xiaofan said and turned to leave. He didn't give Tanjita any chance to speak. His speed made Tanjita speechless. Hey, wait. How could Tanjita let Xiaofan go? Zheng Chenghu had already found a thug. If Xiaofan left, who would he fight? When the thug came, not only would he have to pay, but he also couldn't teach the white fox a lesson. This person had already returned to the Shen family. He couldn't possibly rush into the Shen family and beat them up, right? That wasn't realistic. "Is there anything else?" Xiaofan asked. Chapter 461. I'll buy it, I'll buy it. Tanjita was a little helpless. In order to stabilize Xiaofan, he could only agree. "You should have said it earlier." Xiaofan returned and pointed to the ancient jade. "This is it." "Boss, how much is this ancient jade?" Tanjita glanced at the ancient jade that Xiaofan pointed out. There was nothing special about it. It wouldn't be too expensive, so he asked directly. 5 million. The boss stretched out 5 fingers and quoted directly. "What? 5 million? Boss, are you mistaken? Such an ordinary ancient jade costs 5 million? Tanjita was stunned and said, "Are you trying to cheat me because I don't know the industry? At most 100,000. Are you selling it? This is an ancient jade unearthed from a famous ancient dynasty tomb. I have an expert certificate here. Don't make trouble if you don't have money." The boss said disdainfully. This. Tanjita didn't expect a piece of broken jade to be so expensive. His face was a little ugly. This white fox's vision was really unique. He just randomly picked a real antique. Before, he didn't want to spend more than 100,000, but now it suddenly became 5 million. "Are you buying it or not? If you don't buy it, I'll leave," Xiaofan asked with some impatience. Originally, Tanjita wanted to waste some time with the boss. Anyway, it didn't matter if the boss sold it or not. As long as he successfully waited for those masters, then everything would be fine. He didn't expect that just when he had this idea, Xiaofan impatiently urged him. It made him a little unhappy in his heart, but he couldn't show it on the surface. He could only say, "Buy it, don't bargain." However, the boss seemed to cooperate with Xiaofan and said directly, "This shop guarantees authenticity. No bargaining. If you don't want to buy it, don't stay here." Tanjita was bitter. He hesitated and asked tentatively, "Then, after I buy it, if I find a problem when I go home, can I return it? We are a trustworthy shop. Don't talk about problems. If there are no problems, you can also return it. Free return within 7 days, provided that the item is not damaged or replaced." The boss said directly. "Alright, then I'll buy it. Swipe my card." After hearing this, Tanjita's heart calmed down. It would be easy to get a refund. He would buy it first, and when the white fox was killed or injured, he would get the ancient jade back. This way, he wouldn't lose a single cent. From the looks of it, it was equivalent to the deposit of 5 million yuan. All right. The owner asked a worker to help Tanjita swipe his card. Then, he quickly and carefully wrapped up the ancient jade and handed it to Xiaochen. Xiaochen put it away with satisfaction. Tanjita thought that if they were to fight later, he might break this ancient jade. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to return it. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but say, "White Fox, this ancient jade, how about I hold it for you? Keep it in your pocket and don't lose it. It's quite expensive." "Oh, no need. I can't lose it," Xiaochen said directly. Tanjita felt somewhat gloomy. He could only tell Zheng Qinghu later to search for the ancient jade on Xiaochen's body before he beat him up when he found someone to come. After secretly sending a message to Zheng Qinghu, Tanjita was relieved. Watching Xiaochen continue to wander in the antique market, he felt more at ease. Humans die for wealth as birds die for food. Didn't he just want me to spend some money for him? But it was also good. If he lost his life for some benefits that he couldn't get, he probably wouldn't have a place to explain himself. However, what made Tanjita really puzzled was that this white fox seemed to have a little problem with his IQ. His style of doing things was like a primary school student. How could such a person get the favor of Shen Jingxian? He was greedy, arrogant, and had no sense of crisis. It was reasonable to say that Shen Jingxian shouldn't like such a person. Could it be that this guy had some unknown merits? But no matter how he looked, he couldn't find anything. He even wondered if he was a fake boyfriend that Shen Jingxian hired at the last minute. But after thinking about it, it was impossible. First of all, the Shen family didn't urge Shen Jingxian to get engaged. There was no reason for her to hire a boyfriend in a hurry. It was even more impossible to say that it was for him. Before Shen Jingxian came back, she didn't know that he could come to her to propose marriage. There was no need for her to find someone to pretend to be her boyfriend. Following behind Xiaochen walked and stopped from time to time. However, to his disappointment, apart from the spirit chi fluctuations in the piece of ancient jade, there was nothing else. It seemed that this kind of spiritual jade couldn't be bought easily. It could only be found by chance. It was estimated that for a long time, the antique market in Lan City wouldn't see spiritual jade again. However, as Xiaochen walked in front, he kept feeling that someone was following him. But he didn't pay much attention to it. In his opinion, it should be Zheng Qinghu or Ma Jinhan following him so that they could find someone to deal with him. After walking one round, they left the antique market. Xiaochen didn't have anything he wanted, so he couldn't be bothered to buy it. This made Tanjita heave a sigh of relief. He only had about 6 million in his bank card. Now that he had spent 5 million, the remaining 1 million was basically not enough for him to do anything. That's him. Kill him. As soon as they left the antique market, Zheng Qinghu's sharp eyes spotted Xiaochen. He pointed angrily and ordered the people standing behind him with a fierce expression. All 6 of them were top-notch martialists registered in the Lan City Martialists Guild. Lan City was not a small city. Even though it could not be compared to some developed cities with a large number of martialists, it could be said to be filled with experts in its surroundings. These people all knew each other, but they were a little puzzled. Why did they have to gang up on a masked man? But as long as someone was paying, they didn't care. The warrior at the peak of Stage 8 Inner Force spoke first. "Let's go together. This is the downtown area. Let's end this quickly. After we kill him, drag him to the car." After the warrior at the peak of Stage 8 Inner Force finished speaking, he took the lead and rushed forward. The others nodded and surrounded Xiaochen. Zheng Qinghu and Ma Jinhan stood at the side with a sneer. Xiaochen's kick had hurt them so much. It was finally time for revenge. "Qinghu, Jinhan, what are you doing? Why did you find people to gang up on White Fox? Is this a misunderstanding?" In order to clear himself of suspicion, Tanjita said, "White Fox, why don't you kneel and apologize to them? I'll mediate and you can leave Lan City. How about that? Of course, he wasn't doing this because he was afraid of trouble, but because he didn't want Shen Jingxian to know that he had killed Xiaochen. As for Zheng Chenghu and Ma Jinhan, although they were the scapegoats, it wasn't a big deal given their backgrounds. Tan Jita could just compensate them with some cultivation elixirs afterwards. The peak of the 8th layer punched towards Xiao Chen's forehead. The martial technique that he practiced was a powerful fist technique. Normally speaking, a single punch would be enough to split the opponent's brain. Even if it was a martial artist of the same level as him, he would be able to kill them. However, what surprised him was that just as his punch was about to hit Xiao Chen, his vision blurred and he suddenly lost his target. Xiao Chen had disappeared without any warning, leaving nothing in front of him. When he realized that something was wrong and wanted to look for Xiao Chen quickly made a move. He used a dark flame palm, but he didn't use his full strength. He only used 80% of his strength, and it sent the peak 8th layer male flying like he was swatting a fly. The warrior didn't even have time to react when he felt his body suddenly fly up like a cannonball. He flew through the air and finally fell into a pile of garbage near the antique market with a bang, letting out a blood-curdling scream. The garbage pile was stinky, flies were flying, and maggots were swarming. The warrior at the peak of stage 8 inner force wanted to get up, but all his bones felt like they were broken. No matter how hard he struggled, he couldn't stand up again. A stench hit his nose, causing him to faint directly. This sudden turn of events stunned everyone present. Originally, when Zheng Qinghu saw the man at the peak of the 8th floor make his move, he wanted to shout and search his body. However, before he could shout, the man at the peak of the 8th floor was already dead. On the other side, Xiaochen didn't stay idle. After hitting the warrior at the peak of stage 8 inner force, Xiaochen directly walked toward the 5 warriors. 2 of the stage 7 inner force warriors were grabbed by his hair and slammed into each other's faces. With a muffled "pa" sound, the 2 of them fainted on the ground. They were bleeding from all 7 orifices, and it was unknown whether they were still alive or not. Without stopping, Xiaochen turned around and grabbed the 2 martial artists at the peak of stage 7 inner force. He wanted to do the same thing to them. However, the 2 of them were already on guard. After being grabbed by Xiaochen, they quickly twisted their bodies, trying to break free. Xiaochen couldn't be bothered to get entangled with them. He simply kicked each of them in the chest. Because he didn't use any martial arts, Xiaochen didn't hold back this time. But even without martial arts, his attack was equivalent to the peak of stage 9 inner force. The 2 of them were directly kicked 8 feet away. Their heads fell to the ground with a dong sound, and a large pool of blood flowed out. It was unknown whether they were still alive or not. With a single move, Xiaochen took care of 5 martial artists in a row. It happened in the blink of an eye. The stage 8 inner energy martial artist was terrified. He no longer wanted to gang up on Xiaochen like he did at the beginning. Instead, his expression changed, and he turned to run. A dignified stage 8 inner force warrior was actually scared away. Zheng Chenghu was dumbfounded. Ma Jinhan was also dumbfounded. Tan Jita was even more shocked and speechless. Originally, he thought that there was something wrong with Xiao Chen's brain and IQ. But now, it seemed that it wasn't the case at all. With his strength, he didn't care about these conspiracies. In the face of absolute strength, everything was empty talk. Previously, Tan Jita thought that his strength was similar to Xiao Chen's. Now, it seemed that he was lucky that he didn't make a move. Otherwise, he would be miserable. Xiao Chen didn't chase after them. They were just martial artists who helped him. If they ran away, so be it. He directly looked at Zheng Chenghu and Ma Jinhan, and said with a sneer, "You two only found these few pieces of trash." Chapter 462. You, don't mess around, I am the son of the Lan City Warrior Guild's vice president. Zheng Qinghu's face turned pale when he saw Xiaochen looking at him. That's right, don't go overboard. I am the son of the Lan City Warrior Market's second shopkeeper. If you touch us, I can guarantee that you won't be able to leave Lan City. Is that so? Xiaochen said coldly, have you ever thought that you were messing around? Did you not go overboard? Did you go overboard? I didn't do anything to you and only taught you a simple lesson. I didn't expect you to be so daring as to find people to gang up on me. Tell me, do you think I will let you go? We are different from them. It is impossible that you do not know who we are, unless you want to form a death grudge with us. Zheng Qinghu roared in a threatening manner. I have already contacted our elders. When they arrive, it will be the day of your death. If you obediently admit your mistake and leave Lan City, we will not pursue this matter. Ma Jinhan suddenly felt confident. Oh. In fact, Xiaochen did not intend to do anything to Zheng Qinghu and Ma Jinhan. After all, their identities were different. Xiaochen wanted to establish his authority and not offend all the forces in Lan City. He originally wanted to scare them, but he did not expect them to find people again. Xiaochen was very surprised that they would look for their parents when they could not win. He thought that the world of ordinary people was like this, but he did not expect the world of martial arts to be the same. However, this was not what Xiaochen wanted to see. Although he was not afraid of trouble, he did not want to offend the people of the warrior guild. If these people appeared and collectively chased him away, Xiaochen would be in a difficult position. However, since he had already done it, Xiaochen could only take it one step at a time. This was not the time to give in, so Xiaochen said coldly, do as you wish. White Fox, I think it's better to forget about this matter. Apologize, and I'll mediate. Otherwise, when the people from the warrior guild arrive and they issue a bounty, all the warriors will come to deal with you. No matter how powerful you are, you won't be able to walk out of Lan City alive. Tanjita said to Xiaochen. In fact, Tanjita also knew that Xiaochen had only beaten up Zheng Qinghu and Ma Jinhan. Even if their father came, he would at most scare Xiaochen and teach him a lesson. As for issuing a bounty, that was absolutely impossible. Although it was only released on Lan City's local platform, if anyone spread the news to the headquarters of the Warrior Guild or the Hong Consortium, they would not be able to get away with it. Of course, they might be stupid. However, in Tanjita's opinion, they were not idiots. So, it was better to scare Xiaochen and get him to scram quickly. Speaking of the devil, he arrived. The first to arrive was Ma Jinhan's father, Ma Yuqian. As his name suggested, he was indeed very rich. Soon after, another middle-aged man arrived. This person was Zheng Qinghu's father, Zheng Zhiba. Both of them were experts, but they did not make a move on Xiaochen. Ma Yuqian glanced at Zheng Zhiba, waiting for him to make a decision. In fact, in Zheng Zhiba's heart, he already knew what happened. Previously, when Zheng Qinghu was looking for people, he understood that Zheng Qinghu was standing up for Tanjita, but he didn't interfere. After all, Tan Muyo was also someone that he and Ma Yuqian wanted to curry favor with. The three of them could be said to be a small interest group. Tan Muyo was the leader, Zheng Zhiba was in charge of clearing up the connections, Ma Yuqian was in charge of purchasing medicinal ingredients, and Tan Muyo was in charge of refining medicine. Refining medicine would cost money. With the few of them working together, they could swallow hundreds of millions of dirty money every year. What was the most valuable thing in the warrior's market? It was not the medicinal ingredients, but the refined medicinal liquids and pills. Many of these things had a sky-high price. Tan Muyo used the medicinal ingredients that were normally lost to refine medicinal liquids and pills and sold them through Zheng Zhiba's channels to obtain huge profits. In this, Tan Muyo was an indispensable link. Therefore, among the three of them, he had the final say and received the most money. As for Ma Yuqian, who was in charge of purchasing medicinal ingredients in Lon City's Warriors Market, he was also an indispensable link. This was because even if Tan Muyo wanted to take on private jobs and refine his own medicinal pills and liquids, he would not be able to buy enough raw materials. Therefore, Ma Youqian's benefits came second. Although it was second, Ma Youqian was the richest. This was because from the purchasing process, he could earn a lot of commissions. Moreover, he could also get a lot of the pills and liquids. Zheng Zhiba, in fact, took the least, and he also had to build up connections to get people to buy pills and medicinal liquids from him in private. However, this was a job that any martial artist with a bit of status and connections could do, so Zheng Zhiba did not complain. However, outside, Zheng Zhiba and Ma Youqian were together, and Zheng Zhiba was still the leader. After all, Zheng Zhiba had a lot of connections and was the vice president of the Warriors Guild. His status was slightly higher than Ma Youqian's. Who are you? I now suspect that you are a wanted criminal of the Warriors Guild. You are wearing a mask and do not show your true face. I will request the Warriors Guild's Law Enforcement Hall to verify your identity. This Zheng Zhiba was obviously not a reckless person. He spoke and did things in a way that no one could refute. Now, I will have to trouble you to return to the Warriors Guild with us. Before we confirm your true identity, you are temporarily under our control. Of course, you can also choose to escape. That means that you have a guilty conscience. I will request the Warriors Guild to put you on the national wanted list. This person was smarter than Chen Huanling. After all, he was the vice president of the Warriors Guild in a big city. He was different from the one in Songning City. His speech was completely official. If Xiao Chen refused to comply, it would mean that there was something wrong with him. At that time, he would put him on the wanted list. Even if the wanted list was wrong, it would have nothing to do with him. He could totally say that this person wore a mask and refused to cooperate with the investigation. However, Xiao Chen could not take off his mask. He did not want his identity to be exposed so quickly. For a moment, he was in a dilemma. If he followed Zheng Zhiba to the Warriors Guild, who knew what would happen when he reached his territory? But if he did not go, Zheng Zhiba would probably put him on the wanted list. Xiao Chen could not help but feel a sense of hostility. He wanted to kill Zheng Zhiba with his palm, but he held back in the end. But, what should he do now? A smile flashed across Tan Jita's face. He looked coldly at Xiao Chen and secretly admired Zheng Zhiba. With just a few words, he had pushed Xiao Chen to a point where he did not know what to do. In his opinion, it was already good enough to expel Xiao Chen from Lon City. But now, it would be too easy for him if he left. Now, he could not even leave even if he wanted to. His view and vision were still not good enough. Look at how awesome Zheng Zhiba was. He had used his identity and power to the fullest. For a vice president of the Warriors Guild to be able to do this, it was already pretty awesome. Zheng Chenghu and Ma Jinhan also stood at the side and looked at Xiao Chen with a smug smile. Wasn't he acting cool just now? Is it okay now? You've put yourself in the trap of acting cool. Sigh, White Fox, I told you just now that you could leave after apologizing. But now, you see, the Warriors Guild has intervened. I can't do anything about it. Tan Jita sighed and pretended to be helpless as he said to Xiao Chen, I advise you to obediently follow Vice President Zheng. Otherwise, it will not be fun if you become a wanted criminal. Alright, Tan Jita. I'm sure you know better than me what happened today. You don't have to pretend anymore. What's the use of pretending now that things have come to this? Xiao Chen narrowed his eyes and looked at Tan Jita. Tan Jita felt a little awkward. Indeed, he was the one who arranged everything today. But now, Xiao Chen was right. What was the point of hiding now? There were only two paths in front of Xiao Chen. One was to obediently follow Zheng Zhiba back. But if he went back, he probably wouldn't be able to come out. In Zheng Zhiba's territory, it was too easy to kill someone. The other was to escape. With his strength, he could probably escape. But after he escaped, he would have to bear the consequences of never having a day of peace. He would become a wanted criminal. Even if he wore a mask, it would be useless. As long as the people from the Warriors Guild's law enforcement hall appeared and verified with the Shen family, Shen Jingxian and Shen Zhenghao wouldn't dare to hide Xiao Chen's true identity. When that time came, it would be easy to find him. That's right, White Fox. I admit that I'm the one who wants to target you. The reason is very simple. You don't know how to appreciate favors. Tan Jita admitted it. He took a step forward and looked at Xiao Chen coldly. You dare to fight with me over the woman I like? Don't you know that in the martial arts circle of Lan City, no one has ever dared to defy my will? Originally, I didn't want to kill you. As long as you leave obediently, not only will I not do anything to you, but I will also give you some cultivation herbs. But since you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, I have no other choice. Hee, it's good that you admit it. Xiao Chen took a deep breath and calculated in his heart. If there was no other way, he could only go to the Warriors Guild first. On the way there, he would think of a way to contact Hongzhu or Song Huawu and ask them to protect him. Based on their status, either of them would be able to settle this matter. Tan Jita, it seems like your father isn't a good person either. You're just a man who's about to die. You don't have to worry about this. You'd better worry about yourself. Tan Jita sneered. The one wearing the mask, what are you waiting for? Come with us. Zheng Zhiba said indifferently. Of course, you can also choose to escape. Xiao Chen knew that he had to make a decision, however, just as Xiao Chen was hesitating and everyone else present thought that Xiao Chen was finished, a figure appeared beside Xiao Chen without any warning. Chapter 463. This old man knows this person. Go do what you need to do. This was an old man who looked to be in his 50s. Of course, it was possible that he was even older. Because martial artists had an extended lifespan, their looks did not age that easily. Therefore, before knowing his strength, it was impossible to determine his true age. However, the feeling that this person gave Xiao Chen was indeed very strong. This was because even Xiao Chen had not sensed his appearance. It was simply too strange, without any warning. Seeing the sudden appearance of this old man, everyone's eyes narrowed and they couldn't help but take 2 steps back. Zheng Zhiba's expression was a bit ugly, but he had to force a smile and said, "Yes, then we'll be leaving first." There were no superfluous words. There was only agreement. The others did not even say anything. They only bowed and quickly left with Zheng Zhiba. Even wealthy Ma, who had an equally prominent status, was avoiding eye contact with Zheng Zhiba. As for Tan Jita, Zheng Chenghu, and Ma Jinhan, they followed Zheng Zhiba and the others and quickly left. They were afraid that if they were too slow, they would provoke the old man's anger. Xiao Chen was very surprised by this person's appearance. He didn't know him, and he was sure that he had never seen him before. But why would he help him out of trouble? Obviously, this person was a big shot. Even Zheng Zhiba was afraid of him. Just one sentence from him was enough to make the arrogant Zheng Zhiba give up. This person either had a high status, was powerful, or was both. Senior, thank you for helping me out. Although he was confused, no matter what, this person had helped Xiao Chen. Out of courtesy, Xiao Chen had to thank him. I'm sorry, but I didn't help you out for nothing. Come with me. The old man looked at Xiao Chen and said indifferently. A strong domineering aura was released and instantly enveloped Xiao Chen's body, making Xiao Chen feel very suppressed. Expert, he was definitely an expert. Xiao Chen's heart trembled, but he still nodded and followed. If such a person wanted to deal with him, there was nothing he could do. Besides, he had helped him out of trouble, so he shouldn't have any malicious intent towards him. On the side of the antique market, there was a small street. There was basically no one there. The houses on both sides of the street had been demolished. It was planned to build a big antique market, but the construction hadn't started yet. Xiaofan watched as the old man casually found a stone staircase in the ruins and sat down. Xiaofan followed and sat down on the rubble opposite the old man. He looked at the old man and said, feeling it was strange, "Senior, you were looking for me. Show me the stone you bought in the antique market just now," the old man said straightforwardly. Xiaofan was slightly taken aback. Thoughts raced through his mind, but in the end, he still took out the ancient jade and handed it to the old man before him. Xiaofan was very puzzled. Did this person save him just to take a look at the ancient jade that he bought? The old man took the ancient jade and didn't say anything. He just held it in his hand and looked at it. After a while, he said, "Why did you buy this jade?" "I have a hobby of collecting antiques. Moreover, Tanjita paid for it, so I casually cheated him," Xiaofan said with a bitter smile. "Collecting antiques? Casually cheated?" The old man frowned and his sharp eyes swept over Xiaofan's face. Then, he said, "You're lying. Did you buy this jade casually?" "Yes, is there anything wrong with this jade?" Xiaofan asked. "This is a spiritual jade. I think you know it. Don't tell me you don't know." The old man sneered. "There was only one spiritual jade in the antique market. After you bought it, I went to all the shops that sold jade and found that there was only one. And you're telling me that you bought it casually? This." Xiaofan was shocked. He didn't expect this old man to know about spiritual jade. Moreover, he knew how to distinguish spiritual jade. This was very rare among warriors. Most warriors did not even know what a spiritual jade was, and what was the difference between it and ordinary jade. Otherwise, Li Shaning and Cheng Mengqiang would not have been able to take out the spiritual jade so easily. "It doesn't matter if you don't say it. You can't hide it even if you want to." The old man said, "I will force you to say it. If you don't, I will send you back to the Warriors Guild. If you tell me, I can guarantee your safety when you leave Lan City. Zheng Zhiba and the others won't make things difficult for you." "All right." Xiaofan had no choice but to say, "I am a devil cultivator. I found that this kind of jade is good for my cultivation, so I collected it everywhere." "Oh?" The old man was slightly surprised. He then frowned and said, "Just for cultivation? As far as I know, although this thing is good for cultivation, it's very weak." "Yes, but I want to improve my strength. Even if it's just a little useful, I will collect it," Xiaofan said. "Is that so?" The old man suddenly moved. Without warning, he attacked Xiaofan. He casually threw the jade pendant at Xiaofan. Then, while Xiaofan subconsciously stretched out his hand to catch the jade pendant, he directly punched at Xiaofan's face. Xiaofan was shocked and quickly took 2 steps back. A huge aura hit him in the face. Xiaofan's heart trembled. This was an expert, a top expert. Xiaofan actually couldn't see through his strength. In the past, even if it was a martial artist with a higher level than him, Xiaofan could still see through their strength. But this time, Xiaofan only felt that this person was very strong, even stronger than old man Xishan who had perfected the peak of stage 10 inner force. Xiaofan didn't dare to be negligent. He secretly circulated the mantra but did not attack. Instead, he kept dodging because he didn't have a chance to attack. The old man's speed was too fast. Xiaofan was overwhelmed. Often, just as Xiaofan dodged the previous move, the next move would follow. Back and forth like this, the old man had already used more than 10 moves. "Huh? Not bad?" The old man's eyes narrowed. He couldn't help but exclaim. He felt that there must be a secret in this spiritual jade. At this moment, he had roughly judged Xiao Chen's strength. Although Xiao Chen didn't attack and he couldn't get an accurate level, Xiao Chen should be around the peak of stage 9 to stage 10 inner force devil cultivator. At such a young age, he mingled with Tan Jita and the others. Moreover, he was Shen Jingxuan's boyfriend. He was probably not very old. He should be around 20 years old. It was a little unbelievable that he could have such a cultivation at this age. Not to mention the true martial arts families, even those sects were rare. Therefore, he felt that all of this should be the credit of the spiritual jade. Otherwise, why did Xiao Chen only buy the spiritual jade? And he spent so much money on it. Xiao Chen kept dodging and retreating. Finally, when he retreated to a corner, he had nowhere to retreat. He had no choice but to set up an illusion to make the old man think that he had escaped and Xiao Chen hadn't. However, this illusion seemed to have no effect on the old man. After a short pause, the old man still slammed his palm towards Xiao Chen's chest. Boom! Xiao Chen was slammed against the wall. A trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Fortunately, for some unknown reason, the old man didn't use his full strength. After the successful blow, he didn't continue attacking. Instead, he retreated to the side and sat down. He said calmly, "I'll give you some time to adjust your breathing. Think about it carefully. Do you want to tell me the truth?" Xiao Chen was stunned. He immediately understood. This old man was obviously giving him a show of strength. He was warning him that if he didn't tell the truth, he would be ruthless. Although the old man showed mercy, Xiao Chen still felt very uncomfortable. He had tried his best and used his body's speed to the limit. However, in the end, he still couldn't escape the last blow. Even the illusion was useless. Also, don't even think about using illusions. This old man is also a devil cultivator. Although this old man has to admit that your illusions are very clever and almost made this old man see wrongly, this old man didn't feel your aura of escape. Although you disappeared, this old man felt that you haven't left. Just as I expected. The old man warned, "Now that I have locked on to your aura, you better think carefully before you speak." Xiao Chen took a deep breath and seized the time to heal his injuries. However, the old man didn't know what kind of strength he used. When the demonic energy entered Xiao Chen's body, it was like maggots in a tarsal bone. It was running amok in Xiao Chen's body. This was different from the other demonic energy. This demonic energy didn't seem to be suppressed. It was like the cold energy in his body. It made Xiao Chen feel very uncomfortable. It was like thousands of ants gnawing on his bones, causing trouble in his meridians. Looking at Xiao Chen's somewhat uncomfortable expression, the old man said calmly, "Oh right, I forgot to tell you. You have been hit by this old man's unique skill. If this old man doesn't help you resolve it, you will soon die from the pain of itching in your meridians. So, whether you want to say it or not, think carefully." After saying that, the old man no longer paid attention to Xiao Chen. He closed his eyes as if he was taking a nap. The chaotic demonic energy made Xiao Chen's healing speed a lot slower. This was because Xiao Chen had to use a portion of his essence to suppress the demonic energy. Only the remaining half of his essence could be used to heal. Fortunately, Xiao Chen's current strength level had increased. His healing speed was also much faster than before. Otherwise, who knew how slow it would be? After thinking about it, Xiao Chen decisively held the spirit jade in his hand and began to absorb and dissolve it. Even if he was discovered by the old man, Xiao Chen had no choice but to do so. The secret of the spiritual jade was related to the fact that he was a cultivator. He had no way of explaining it, so he could only tell the truth. However, Xiao Chen could not reveal it. Chapter 464. Then he had to recover from his injuries as soon as possible and refine the demon qi in his body. Only then would he have a chance to escape from the old man's clutches. But after he escaped, he would probably be wanted by the Lon City Warriors Guild again. What a headache. As time passed, the old man seemed to be very patient. He did not care about the time Xiaochen needed to recover. It seemed that this was the only way to give Xiaochen psychological pressure and force Xiaochen to tell the truth. However, this gave Xiaochen time to recover. The old man probably did not expect Xiaochen's self-healing ability to be so strong. If it was an ordinary cultivator, they would only be able to regulate their breathing and suppress their injuries. It was absolutely impossible for them to fully recover. It was probably because of this that the old man ignored Xiaochen. Finally, Xiaochen's internal injuries were completely healed. However, he did not stop and continued to dissolve the demon qi in his body. The demon qi that the old man had injected into his body was thick and violent. It was even more ferocious than Leng Youxiang's. However, once it was dissolved and turned into Yuan qi, the increase in Xiaochen's strength was very significant. With the help of the spiritual jade, Xiaochen felt that his strength was constantly increasing. He had a faint feeling that he was about to break through the barrier. But how was this possible? A few days ago, Xiaochen had just broken through the barrier of the peak of the 7th level of the qi refining stage and stepped into the 8th level. Even though he was now at the peak of the 8th level, he still did not dare to believe that he could immediately enter the 9th level. However, the truth was right in front of him. Xiaochen felt that after the demonic aura was dissolved, the primordial qi was colliding with his barrier again and again with the help of the spirit jade. The originally indestructible barrier actually had a tiny crack. Seeing this, Xiaochen was both surprised and happy. If he could successfully break through this time, he would definitely have the strength to fight against this old man. Thinking of this, Xiaochen could not help but speed up the circulation of the mantra, speeding up the transformation of the demon qi. The transformation of demonic energy was a very painful process. The faster the process, the more painful it was. The demonic energy was not absorbed by the meridians. Instead, it was piled up together. This was a very dangerous and uncomfortable situation. However, this was exactly the situation that Xiaochen wanted. The little bits of vital qi accumulated into a mickle, continuously battering against the barrier, one after another, boom. Finally, after the spiritual jade shattered into powder, Xiaochen successfully broke through the barrier and advanced to the 9th level of the refinement stage. Phew! Xiaochen heaved a sigh of relief and looked at the old man not far away. Not bad, you do have some skills. The old man saw that Xiaochen raised his head and looked at him. At this moment, he opened his eyes as if he could see through Xiaochen's movements at any time. He said slowly, being able to suppress my demon qi in such a short period of time, you really do have some skills. Of course, the old man only thought that Xiaochen suppressed the demon qi. He would not believe that Xiaochen could refine the demon qi and use it for his own use. If he could not do it, how could Xiaochen do it? We have no enmity between us, and I have already told you what you asked me. This spiritual jade is really for my cultivation, but you don't believe me. Xiaochen said with a bitter smile. Humph, you better think carefully before you speak. Your life is in my hands now. I can kill you at any time. The old man's face was a little ugly. He did not expect that Xiaochen would dare to not tell the truth at this time. I am very clear about this. Xiaochen nodded and said, but I really did not lie to you. Good, in that case, I will fulfill your wish. A sharp glint flashed in the old man's eyes as he stared at Xiaochen and suddenly made his move. Xiaochen did not dodge at this moment. He faced the blade head-on and rushed towards the old man. He secretly circulated the mantra in his heart and activated the 10th form of the dark flame palm that he had never used before. The old man only wanted to teach Xiaochen a lesson, so he did not use his full strength. However, Xiaochen went all out. In fact, when the old man saw that Xiaochen actually dared to clash head-on with him, a disdainful smile appeared on his face. Boom, Boom, two loud sounds rang out. Xiao Chen was hit by the old man's fist, and the old man was hit by Xiao Chen's palm. In the next moment, both of them flew out at the same time. Xiao Chen spat out a mouthful of blood, but at the same time, the old man also spat out blood. He looked at Xiao Chen, who flew in the distance, in horror. He was a little surprised and a little confused. The power of this palm made him feel that Xiao Chen had the strength of a stage 10 inner force master. Of course, this was actually an illusion. Xiao Chen's palm was at most comparable to a stage 10 inner force master. It was not even at the peak, let alone the stage 10 inner force master. After all, Xiao Chen had just broken through and his strength had not stabilized yet. It was purely a stretch for him to activate the 10th form. It was just that he was not prepared, so the power was infinitely amplified. In his opinion, only a master of stage 10 inner force master could beat him up like this. Xiao Chen quickly healed his internal injuries, but the old man obviously could not. He could only suppress his own injuries. The two of them stared at each other at the same time. Their hearts were secretly vigilant, but neither of them moved. Both of them were healing, so it was only a matter of who could move faster. Obviously, this person was Xiao Chen. Although the old man was stronger, he might not be able to suppress his injuries as well as Xiao Chen's healing. Xiao Chen stood up and walked toward the old man step by step. The old man's eyes were filled with incomparable fear. He had never thought that a half-step martial master like him would be beaten by a martial artist. How is this possible? How are you fine? You took 2 of my attacks in a row. How is it possible that you are completely fine? The old man looked at Xiao Chen in disbelief. Judging from his state, he was not injured at all. Old man, I already said that we have no enmity between us. I told you everything you asked, but why don't you believe me? Xiao Chen was just threatening him. He did not really want to take this opportunity to kill the old man. Otherwise, the hatred would be too inexplicable. He did not even know who the other party was. Are you really using it for cultivation? The old man asked. Yes, I was at the peak of stage 9 internal force. You can see that, right? Xiao Chen asked. That's right. The old man nodded. This was the truth. He was still wondering how Xiao Chen broke through in the blink of an eye. That's why I almost broke through. Then, I just used the spiritual jade that I just bought to complete the breakthrough. Now, I'm at stage 10 internal force. Xiao Chen said, although this thing is expensive and the effect is slow, why wouldn't I buy it when others are paying for it? Moreover, I can't find other better materials for cultivation, so I can only use this. As Xiao Chen spoke, he reached into his pocket and took out the pile of broken jade powder. He sprinkled it in front of the old man. Although there was no energy in it, there were some parts that were not completely broken. It could still be vaguely seen that this was the spiritual jade from before. Looking at the broken jade in front of him, the old man had no choice but to believe what Xiao Chen said. He was a little speechless. Is that really the case? Then you really have money to burn. With this money, you can buy a lot of other cultivation resources. In his opinion, Xiao Chen was only a step away from breaking through. That was why he used the spiritual jade to help him break through. Because he had also used spiritual jade before, the effect was very weak. It was basically negligible. I already said that others are paying for it. Xiao Chen shrugged. And I'm used to it. Do you have any? No, you're not weak. How about we cooperate? If you agree, you can get a lot of spiritual jade. The old man suddenly spoke. Even his attitude towards Xiao Chen had changed from the haughty attitude from before to a more equal one. Stage 10 internal force was equivalent to the great circle of stage 10 internal force. It was enough to hurt a half-step martial master like him. An expert of this level was similar to him. Although he was a half-step martial master, he had not become a martial master. It could only be said that he had touched the threshold and was slightly stronger than an ordinary great circle of stage 10 internal force. Cooperate? What kind of cooperation? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. The old man did not continue. Instead, he looked at White Fox carefully. After a while, he suddenly said, White Fox, White Fox. I'm Clay Den. Pft. Cough, cough, cough. Xiao Chen almost spat when he heard that. Clay Den? Wasn't that the one who issued the mission to look for him to explore the ancient ruins? Why was he here? Clay Den was also a little embarrassed. He did not expect the person in front of him to be White Fox. He had felt that White Fox's name was very familiar, but he did not think too much about it. After all, White Fox could not be from Lan City. It was from Songning. Moreover, he did not remember the name White Fox very clearly. He had only added him as a friend on the Warrior Guild's app. He was a little puzzled that White Fox wanted so many spiritual jade, but it was not convenient to ask on the app. He had used spiritual jade before, but the effect was not very good. After he came out of seclusion, he had planned to buy a piece of spiritual jade at the antique market to see what was so special about it. However, when he went in, he found one. When he asked about the price, it was too expensive. He felt that it was not worth it, so he decided to go to another shop. In the end, he saw Xiao Chen and Tanjita coming in and buying the spiritual jade. He followed them out curiously and saw what had happened. He felt that there was something strange about Xiao Chen, so he brought him here to ask. He did not expect this person to be the White Fox who wanted to explore the ancient ruins with them. No wonder he was wearing a fox mask. You want the spirit jades from the primordial relic for cultivation? Clay Den asked. Yes, what else can I use it for? It's not like I can eat it, Xiao Chen said. I just feel that it's safer to use spiritual jade for cultivation. Many a little makes a mickle. Alright, you have the money. Do whatever you want. Clay Den was speechless, but he did not ask further. After all, White Fox's strength was similar to his. If he asked too much and attacked him, he would be in trouble. He had not recovered from his injuries yet. Chapter 465. I don't have money. Others bought them for me. Xiao Chen said, moreover, I don't have to spend money to explore the ancient ruins. I don't want to spend money. I'm convinced. Clay Den sighed. We didn't get to know each other until we fought. Don't mind it too much. After all, that's how the martial arts world is. I know, but you promised me before and gave me all the spiritual jades. Isn't it inappropriate to invite others to cooperate with you? Xiao Chen was referring to the fact that Clay Den had invited him to work together again without knowing that he was the person from before. Clay Den was a little embarrassed. He looked at Xiao Chen and smiled bitterly. You should understand that I've never met you before and don't know your strength. Now that I have a better partner, I'm naturally tempted, but I won't do it again in the future. If it was someone else, Clay Den would not have explained so much. How high was he? He was a half-step martial master. Although he had not officially stepped into the martial master level, he was not far from it. Now, Xiao Chen was about the same level as him. It was probably only a matter of time before Xiao Chen stepped into the martial master level. He was already at stage 10 inner force at such a young age. His future must be limitless. I understand. Xiao Chen nodded. Then we'll meet again? I should go back now. Alright, keep in touch. Clay Den nodded. Xiao Chen did not say much and left the alley in a flash. However, once he came out, he was at a loss. Tanjita had already left. He did not even have a car. He did not know where the Shen family's mansion was. Previously, when he got off the highway, he drove there under Shen Jingshuan's directions. But if he were to go back from here, he would not be able to go back. When he came here, he wanted to pretend to be polite to Tan Jita, so he did not remember the way. He had no choice but to turn around and go back. Clay Den had not left yet. He was sitting cross-legged while suppressing his injuries. When he saw Xiao Chen return, he was a little puzzled. "Young friend, why are you back? Let me ask you something. You should be the local tyrant of Lan City, right? Tan Jita and the others are afraid of you. Obviously, they know you. You should also know where the Shen family is, right?" Xiao Chen asked. "Yes." The old man nodded. "Then tell me the approximate location. I'll take a taxi back." "Seeing that you're injured, I won't let you lead the way," said Xiao Chen. "Take a taxi and tell him that even taxi drivers know about the Shen family's manor in the suburbs." The old man was a little speechless as he said, "Not only do people live in the Shen family's manor, it's also a green produce sales company that wholesales some high-end grains, fruits, and vegetables. So that's how it is. Then I'm leaving." "Thank you," Xiao Chen said. No wonder when he went to the Shen family, he felt that the exterior looked like a company. It turned out that it was really a company. After stopping a taxi, Xiao Chen found out the address of the Shen family's manor. Soon, he returned to the Shen family. Tan Jita was still there. When he saw Xiao Chen return, he gritted his teeth in anger. However, there was nothing he could do. He put on a fake smile and greeted him. "White Fox, you're back." "Yes, I'm back." "Are you disappointed?" Xiao Chen squinted his eyes and looked at Tan Jita with a faint smile. "How could I?" Tan Jita was a little embarrassed. "White Fox, a straightforward person doesn't beat around the bush. I won't give up." "Up to you." Xiao Chen shook his head. "By the way, you and that old man just now, what's your relationship?" Tan Jita asked tentatively. "Why?" Xiao Chen was slightly moved. "Do you know him?" "Of course, I'm asking you." Tan Jita said. "Oh, just a good friend," Xiao Chen said lightly. "Impossible." Tan Jita immediately denied. Then, he shook his head and said, "Forget it. You don't have to pretend since you don't know each other. The Zheng and Ma families have suffered such a big loss this time. They won't give up easily. I advise you to leave Lan City as soon as possible. Otherwise, the consequences will be hard to predict. Thank you for the reminder." Xiao Chen said. "All right, I don't have time to waste with you. I'm going back to my room to rest." "You?" Tan Jita clenched his fists. He hesitated for a moment and quickly walked to Shen Jingshuan's room. He had to take some measures. If one move didn't work, he still had a backup plan. Xiao Chen returned to his room. After thinking for a while, he decided to inform Shen Jingxian. Otherwise, she would be worried about him. However, when he knocked on the door, Xiao Chen was surprised to find that Shen Jingxian and her family were not there. Perhaps they went to see old Master Shen. Xiao Chen could only go back to his room to consolidate his strength. He used White Fox's phone number to send a message to Shen Jingxian, telling her that he had returned safely. In Shen Jingxuan's room in the Sihiyuan, Tan Mui was also sitting on the sofa. She looked at Tan Jita who was chattering away. When he finally finished, she said, "I didn't expect this White Fox to be a martial artist above stage 8 inner force. He's quite capable. What do you think, Zhengquan? What can we do?" "Actually, there is a way. It's just that the old man hasn't closed his eyes yet. I can't enforce the authority of the Shen family's master." Shen Zhengquan said. "Why isn't this old thing dead yet? Didn't my dad drug him?" Tan Jita said gloomily. "Jita, don't talk nonsense." Tan Mui immediately stopped him. However, Tan Jita didn't care. Anyway, no one here can hear it. It doesn't matter. Oh, about your second grandpa. Tan Muwei looked at Shen Jingquan and asked. Well, my second grandpa doesn't care much about the Shen family. I told him, but he didn't say that he would support me, nor did he say that he wouldn't support me. Shen Jingquan was a little helpless. It seems that the Shen family's affairs have nothing to do with him. Oh, today Tan Jita suddenly thought of something. He told Shen Jingquan about the tense scene at the entrance of the antique market and how Xiao Chen was taken away by the old man. Oh? Is that true? Shen Jingquan couldn't help but frown after hearing it. Yes. Tan Jita nodded. Zheng Qinghu and Ma Jinhan were there, and their father, what's their relationship? Shen Jingquan thought for a moment and asked. I don't think so. I don't seem to know the white fox. I don't even know its name, Tan Jita said. That's good. But we really can't delay this matter. The white fox is the one who is hindering you. But if you can do something that will convince the Shen family, I will have a reason to betroth Shen Jingxian to you. Shen Jingquan said, now, let's split up. Invite Zheng Zhiba and Ma Jinhan here. I will discuss with them how to deal with the white fox. As for you, find a way to invite Medicine Master Ji. As long as you contribute to the Shen family, I will forcefully betroth Shen Jingxian to you during the family meeting. No one can say anything. Because of your grandfather's affairs, the Shen family will hold a family meeting soon. Okay, I understand. I will call them now and then contact Medicine Master Ji. Tan Jita nodded and turned around to handle the matter. And at this moment, Shen Jingxuan's family was really in Shen Shanha's room. Shen Zhenghao finally came to Shen Shanha's room after being summoned by Shen Shanha. This was the first time he saw Shen Shanha after returning home. Shen Zhenghao was not allowed to enter before. Father. Although Shen Zhenghao was a bit selfish, he was much kinder than Shen Jingquan and the others. At least he would not kill Shen Shanha. Zhenghao, you're here. Shen Shanha nodded to him. Jingmao, Jingxian, you're here too. Sit. Grandpa, how do you feel? Shen Jingxian asked worriedly. Didn't you find a medicine master for Grandpa? He might think of a way. You don't have to worry too much. Shen Shanha smiled. It was obvious that he had already accepted it. Dad, your illness. Shen Zhenghao wanted to say something but stopped. He wanted to tell the truth, but he was afraid that his father would think that he was slandering them. So he didn't know whether he should say it or not. His father's impression of him was not very good. If he said it, would his father believe it? Looking at Shen Zhenghao, who had something to say but did not know how to start, Shen Shanha smiled. I know what you want to say. My friend, the white fox, should have told you. That's right, I was poisoned, but, it's hard to say who poisoned me, Dad, you know? Who else could it be? It must be big brother and second brother. Shen Zhenghao said angrily. Zhenghao, don't talk nonsense without evidence. Mind your own business. This time, I called you here to let you look at the situation. If it doesn't work, take Jingxian and Jingmao away from the Shen family. This is a good thing for you. Otherwise, if you stay here and get ostracized, it may cause more trouble. Shen Shanha said, since I'm sick, my control over the Shen family has obviously declined. They don't listen to me anymore. Shen Zhenghao was a little silent. Shen Shanha's words were very clear. Now that Shen Jingquan was in power, even he couldn't give orders. In other words, the competition for the position of the third-generation young master had become impossible. Well, I'm tired. You go back. I've said what I need to say. If you stay here for a long time, Jingquan and the others will be suspicious. Shen Shanha sighed and waved his hand. He was a little disheartened. Shen Zhenghao nodded and stood up silently. He said, Dad, then you have a good rest. I'll leave first." With that, he left the room with Shen Jingxian and Shen Jingmao. In this situation, he really didn't know what to say. On the way back, Shen Jingmao couldn't help but say, "Dad, actually, Brother White Fox should have a way. You don't have to worry too much. At worst, I won't compete for the position of young master. We'll go back to Songning and establish our own family. That's the only way. I'm just a little unwilling. After so many years of hard work, it was destroyed by these crazy people." Shen Zhenghao returned to the villa and sat there, feeling a little depressed. Chapter 466. Shen Jingxian and Shen Jingxian also went back to rest. Shen Jingxian received a message from Xiao Chen, but it was not appropriate for her to look for him. It was a sensitive time now, and she was in the Shen family, so her hands and feet were tied. In the evening, Xiao Chen started to brew the medicinal liquid. Although the demonic stump fruit had to be used within 24 hours, the demonic stump fruit that had already been used for brewing medicine could last longer. Of course, this was only limited to soaking it with other medicinal herbs. If it was taken out, it would be useless. After taking the medicinal liquid, Xiao Chen began to consolidate his strength as a level 9 Qi refinement stage cultivator. As he was training, he was startled by the voice of the Elder Heaven Ancestor. "I got it," the Elder Heaven Ancestor said loudly. This scared Xiao Chen out of his wits. He was concentrating on training when he was so scared that he jumped 3 feet high and almost fell on the ground. "I say, God, people can scare people to death. Don't be like this, okay? Didn't I think of a way to cure that old man Shen? If you don't want to listen, then forget about it," the Elder Heaven Ancestor said with a sneaky smile. He didn't feel sorry for scaring Xiao Chen. I'll listen," Xiao Chen quickly said. "Actually, there is a way to cure him. If it was before, I wouldn't be sure. But now, you are a level 9 Qi refinement stage cultivator, and your primordial Qi is pure. It should not be a problem for you to cure the 2 poisons of Old Man Shen in one go," the Elder Heaven Ancestor said. "Before, your strength was too low. I was afraid that you could only cure one of them, or 1.5. Without the balance of the other poison, that old man would die in a matter of minutes. In other words, it is possible now?" Xiao Chen was surprised and asked. If Old Man Shen could be cured, then the problem of the Shen family could be solved. "You can, but you can't do it yourself," Elder Heaven Ancestor said. "You need help." "Anyone?" Xiao Chen asked. "Of course not," the Elder Heaven Ancestor said. "There must be 2 pharmacists who are well versed in medicine and the meridians of the human body. They will assist you and help you suppress the 2 poisons. Don't release them all at once, release them gradually so that you can neutralize them. Otherwise, if you release them all at once and there is no one to suppress them, it will cause an imbalance between the 2 poisons. Old Man Shen's life will be in danger." "So troublesome?" Xiao Chen roughly understood the theory behind this and could not help but fall into deep thought. Among the apothecaries he knew, other than Apothecary Sun and Apothecary Tan, the only ones left were Apothecary Lu and Apothecary Chen. Apothecary Lu was probably the only one he had a good relationship with and whom he could invite. With these thoughts in mind, Xiao Chen dialed Hong Zhu's number without any hesitation. "Why are you always looking for me at night? Don't you sleep?" Hong Zhu picked up the phone and said with a sleepy tone. "You're sleeping so early?" Xiao Chen asked. "No, I'm taking a nap," Hong Zhu said. Xiao Chen was speechless. "Oh right, do me a favor. Do you have Medicine Master Lu's number? Give it to me, I have something to talk to him about." "I do." "Why? You're looking for him and not me?" Hong Zhu snorted. "I thought you were looking for me." Little brother Xiaochen, can't you take the initiative to talk to me alone for once? You've hurt me. If you continue like this, I'll leave and you won't be able to see me for the rest of your life. Then I'll look for you too. Help me investigate a person called Rich Ma. Xiaochen said, this person is the second in command of Lan City's Warriors Market. As his name suggests, he's very rich, but I don't know where his money comes from. Oh, you've caused me trouble just by guessing, Hongzhu complained. This seems to be your responsibility, right? The Hong Chamber of Commerce belongs to your family. If there's a parasite, it'll be your loss. You're not my wife, so why should I worry? Xiaochen said. Then should I marry you? Hongzhu asked. Forget it, I don't dare to. Xiaochen said. Look at how scared you are. Hongzhu snorted and hung up the phone. Wait. Medicine Master Lu's number. Xiaochen didn't know how he had offended Hongzhu. However, when Xiaochen was about to call back, his cell phone received a message from Hongzhu. It was Medicine Master Lu's number. Xiaochen couldn't help but smile and dialed Medicine Master Lu's number. Xiaochen. Medicine Master Lu picked up the phone and asked directly. Huh? Medicine Master Lu, you have my number? Xiaochen was a little surprised. Yes, little Hongzhu told me, Medicine Master Lu said. What's the matter? Is there something you need from me? There's indeed something I'd like to trouble you with. It's like this. Xiaochen told Medicine Master Lu what he needed help with, and then said, Medicine Master Lu, can you help me find another Medicine Master to help me with you? No problem. Medicine Master Lu was a little shocked when he heard about the illness Xiaochen had mentioned. 2 deadly poisons had been sealed in the damaged meridians by a freak combination of factors, and they had restrained each other without acting up. This was really unheard of. Moreover, even he couldn't think of a solution to such a difficult problem. How could Xiaochen solve it? Medicine Master Lu thought to himself that his guess was right. Xiaochen's attainments in pharmacology were likely to have surpassed his. Thinking of this, he immediately agreed. Are you at the Shen family in Lan City? Okay, I'll go there as soon as possible. Then I'll have to trouble you, Medicine Master Lu. Xiaochen was a little surprised. He didn't expect Lu Fangzhen to agree so readily. After hanging up the phone, Xiaochen breathed a sigh of relief. He said to the Elder Heaven Ancestor, Elder Heaven Ancestor, now that I'm at the 9th level of the Qi refinement stage, I should have some killer moves, right? Do I have any cool moves that are more powerful than those martial artists? Yes, but it's just an upgrade of the previous ability, the Elder Heaven Ancestor said. It's still the same as before. Xiaochen was a little disappointed. It seemed that the last few levels of the Qi refinement stage didn't add new abilities, but only expanded and upgraded the previous abilities. Well, it's still the same as before. If you don't want to know, I won't tell you, the Elder Heaven Ancestor said. But I don't know how to read it myself. Xiaochen glanced at some of the information that the Elder Heaven Ancestor sent him before. It turned out that the ability of the 9th level of the Qi refinement stage was still the transformation of primordial Qi. However, it could transform some unconventional energy, which was different from the previous conventional energy transformation. It seems that there's nothing new. Xiaochen said. I won't explain, of course there's nothing new, but if you don't want me to explain, then forget it, the Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Then, please explain. Xiaochen had to beg for mercy. Beg me, the Elder Heaven Ancestor said proudly. Master, please teach me. Xiaochen said gloomily. When you fight with others, you can use some simple moves of the cultivators, such as the fireball technique, the water ball technique, the ice ball technique, the earth ball technique. The Elder Heaven Ancestor explained. But, it doesn't seem to be useful, does it? Xiaochen was surprised. In this case, the fireball technique seemed to be a bit useful, but for those martial artists, what could a fireball do? Xiaofan remembered that demonic cultivators seemed to be able to use a similar move. At most, it was used to scare people. Even if it landed on their bodies, it would only burn a hole in their clothes. After all, these martial artists had strong physiques. Being burned by the fireball was nothing to them. They wouldn't even be scalded. It seemed like he already knew what Xiaofan was thinking. In fact, the Elder Heaven Ancestor really knew. The Elder Heaven Ancestor said with a smile, "What you said are the conventional flames, of course, the effect is not great, but I am talking about the unconventional flame transformation." Unconventional? Xiaofan was a bit interested. Is it very powerful? Of course. The Elder Heaven Ancestor deliberately kept him in suspense. Xiaofan, have you heard of the Samadhi True Fire? I have. Could it be? Xiaofan was shocked. I can condense the Samadhi True Fire. I am just giving an example. In the cultivation world, the fireball you condense is not any weaker than the Samadhi True Fire. Some of the weaker martial artists, you only need to throw a true fireball technique at them, and they will be turned into ashes. The Elder Heaven Ancestor explained. That bad *SS. Xiaofan was shocked. You have not seen those with great supernatural powers, but the tricks of the Qi refining stage are nothing. The Elder Heaven Ancestor said, at this stage, if you use the fireball technique properly, at most, you can seriously injure that old man called Clayden. Then why didn't you say so earlier? I wouldn't have fought him. Xiaofan was a bit depressed. You always say that I am a busybody, so you have your own ideas. You can't die, so I am too lazy to say anything, the Elder Heaven Ancestor snorted. Xiaofan knew that the Elder Heaven Ancestor was talking about the incident with Shen Jingxian, and he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Elder Heaven Ancestor, next time you are a busybody, I will not talk about you anymore, okay? It depends on my mood. The Elder Heaven Ancestor was very proud, finally finding the feeling of being a master. After a quiet night, after Xiaofan consolidated his strength, he wanted to test the true fireball technique, but this was someone else's territory, so it would not be good to set the house on fire, so Xiaofan held back. The next morning, someone knocked on Xiaofan's door. He walked out and saw that it was a disciple of the Shen family, and he hurriedly informed him, "White Fox, the Shen family is holding a family meeting. Although you are a guest, we hope that you can participate." Family meeting? Xiaofan was slightly taken aback. Although he was very curious as to why the Shen clan was holding a clan meeting at this time and who was the one who organized it, it was exactly what he wanted to attend. He nodded and said, "All right, tell me where it is and when should I go?" "In a while, you can go with Mr. Zhenghao, young Master Jingmao, and Miss Jingxian," the disciple said. "Okay, I understand." Xiaofan nodded, went back to wash up, and quickly walked to Shen Jingshuan's villa. At this moment, Shen Jingxian had obviously also received the notice from the Shen family disciple. When she saw Xiaofan coming, she nodded and said, "White Fox, you are here, let's go together." Shen Zhenghao was frowning, as if he had guessed something, and was pacing back and forth in the room. Chapter 467. White Fox, you're here. Shen Zhenghao stopped in his tracks when he saw Xiaofan. He wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and said anxiously, "I think Shen Jingquan will find a way to take control of the family today." Uncle Shen, don't worry too much. I'll act according to the circumstances. I won't let you guys suffer any losses." Xiaofan comforted him. Actually, Xiaofan didn't expect Shen Jingquan to be so fast. Could it be that they discovered something? In fact, it was because of this that Shen Jingquan was alerted by the meeting between Xiaofan and Clayden yesterday. Especially when he knew that Xiaofan's strength was probably above stage 8 inner force, it put a lot of pressure on Shen Jingquan. Therefore, he had no choice but to call a family meeting to confirm his position. Xiao Chen followed behind Shen Zhenghao and held Shen Jingxuan's hand. Goddess Shen was a little nervous, but Xiao Chen gave her a strange sense of security. Shen Jingxian never dreamed that one day she would appear in the Shen family's courtyard holding Xiao Chen's hand. Sometimes, life was really strange. She didn't like Xiao Chen at all, but now she loved him very much. Everyone walked into the Shen family's meeting hall. It was a huge building with a very spacious hall. There were no round tables like in a conference room, only chairs around. Obviously, everyone was sitting around, and there was an empty space in the middle of the main seat. No one knew what it was for. The second son, Shen Zhengxin, Su Luhua, and their child, Shen Jingbing, were already sitting in the meeting hall. Behind them were some relatives of the Shen family. However, these people had no say in the Shen family. Anyway, no matter who was in charge, they just wanted to get some benefits. Fighting for the position of the family head was the business of Shen Shanha's children, and had nothing to do with these relatives. The eldest son, Shen Jingquan, was the last to enter. To everyone's surprise, he was pushing a wheelchair, and the person in the wheelchair was Shen Shanha. Shen Shanha closed his eyes and seemed to be asleep. In fact, he was already disheartened and was waiting to be manipulated by Shen Jingquan. After all, his words were useless in the Shen family. He was a dying man, and no one would listen to him. He pushed Shen Shanha to the empty space in front of the main seat. It turned out that this was where the wheelchair was. No wonder it was empty. Xiao Chen sat at the side and watched everything that was happening coldly. He wanted to see what this Shen Jingquan was going to do. Cough cough. Well, since everyone from the Shen family is here, let's get ready for the meeting. Shen Jingquan stood next to Shen Shanha, acting like the host of the meeting. Shen Jingquan stood next to Shen Shanha, looking like the host of the meeting. Shen Jingxin looked at Shen Jingquan with anger in his eyes. Shen Jingxuan's actions had disrupted his plan. His plan was not small. He was going to serve the old man and make him write a will or something. Although Shen Jingquan might not be useful, he could use it to wave the flag. At the very least, he could split the Shen family. But now, he had not done anything and Shen Jingquan was ready to force him to abdicate. He knew very well what Shen Jingquan wanted to do. At this time, he held a family meeting and pushed Shen Shanha out. That was to confirm his identity as the heir of the Shen family and make it an established fact. However, he could not oppose it. After all, Shen Jingquan was the eldest son. When Shen Shanha was seriously ill, it was normal for him to exercise the responsibility of the family head. Now, I would like to introduce a few guests here to witness this family meeting. Now, let's welcome President Gu of the Warrior Guild, Zheng Zhiba. Following Shen Jingxuan's words, Zheng Zhiba walked in, waved to everyone, and sat next to Shen Shanha. Warrior Market's deputy shopkeeper, Mr. Ma Yuqian. Shen Jingquan continued to introduce. Ma Yuqian walked in and sat next to Shen Shanha with a smile. Warrior Market's chief pharmacist, Tan Muyo. As Shen Jingquan spoke, Tan Muyo also walked in. However, although he was the leader of the three, he was still one level lower than the other two, so he sat next to Ma Yuqian. Next, there is another mysterious guest. That is pharmacist Tan's son, Tan Jita. He was invited by my father. He is a top pharmacist, the chief pharmacist of the Warrior Market headquarters, Ji Yuliang. With a wave of Shen Jingxuan's hand, Tan Jita walked into the conference hall with a hale and hearty old man. The first three people were within everyone's expectations. After all, the three of them had a good relationship with Shen Jingquan. However, Medicine Master Ji was a little surprising. Was he really invited? To treat Shen Shanha? What if he was cured? Wouldn't Shen Jingquan have no chance? Shen Jingxin was also a little puzzled. He believed that Shen Jingquan and Tan Muyo were in cahoots, but it was a little unrealistic to say that pharmacist Ji was here to help. After all, pharmacist Ji was a top pharmacist. There was no need to bring any bad stain on his reputation because of the Shen family. However, no matter what, Shen Zhengxuan's actions made those who did not know the truth look at him in a new light. They all praised him. After all, everyone felt that he did not want to be promoted, but to treat Grandpa Shen's illness. Pharmacist G's time is limited, so before the family meeting, I will take up some of everyone's time to let Pharmacist G treat my father. Does anyone have any objections? Shen Zhengquan said. Naturally, no one had any objections. After all, old Master Shen was the master of the Shen family. Who would have any objections? Only a few children of the Shen family were fighting fiercely. Other than them, the others had no chance at all. Therefore, whether Shen Shanhe was well or not had little to do with them. However, on the surface, they had to applaud. All right, Pharmacist G, please treat my father. Seeing that no one objected, Shen Zhengquan made an inviting gesture. It turned out that the other seat next to Shen Shanhe was reserved for Pharmacist G. Pharmacist G nodded and walked over. He grasped the pulse on Shen Shanhe's wrist and examined it carefully. Shen Shanhe did not move. He did not even open his eyes. He was at Pharmacist G's mercy. Actually, Pharmacist G did not want to come today. He did not want to get involved in the internal strife of the Zhenwu family. However, since Tan Muyo had invited him, he had to come. They were all colleagues, and Tan Muyo's consultation fee was not low, so Pharmacist G still came. But after the examination, Pharmacist G felt that something was wrong. Shen Shanhe's body had been poisoned by two kinds of poison. Tan Muyo could not examine it, but Pharmacist G could. He also discovered that the poison had accumulated in the injured area. If he was not careful, he would die from the poison. This kind of situation was simply incurable. Pharmacist G knew that this trip was probably in vain. Fortunately, the consultation fee was paid first. Whether or not Shen Shanhe was cured, he would still be paid for this trip. However, Shen Shanhe's situation made it impossible for him to tell the truth. Shen Shanhe was poisoned, and it was two kinds of poison at that. If he said it, it would definitely cause an uproar. Pharmacist G could only sigh and shake his head. No, there's no other way. I can't treat his problem either. Forgive me for my limited ability, but I can only give up. With that, Pharmacist G got up and apologized to everyone. Then, he sat down again. Sigh. It seems like there's really no other way. Shen Zhengxuan's face was full of grief. Everyone knows Pharmacist G's ability. Since Pharmacist G has said so. Sigh, for the development of the Shen family, we can only look forward. So, I think father is here, but with his condition, he will definitely not be able to handle the affairs of the Shen family. Father, for the development of the Shen family, please appoint a successor to the Shen family. Shen Zhengxin's eyes were about to burst into flames. So this was what they were waiting for. Even Pharmacist G couldn't treat him. This also showed everyone that Shen Shanhe was completely hopeless. At this time, Shen Zhengxuan's words, which seemed to be for the sake of the Shen family, were not the slightest bit excessive. Instead, it would gain everyone's support. Sure enough, the relatives of the Shen family all nodded. They also understood what kind of person Pharmacist G was. If he said it was hopeless, then it was hopeless. If the Shen family didn't choose a person to take charge, who would they benefit from in the future? Shen Shanhe slowly opened his eyes and looked at Shen Zhengquan listlessly. He didn't know what to say. This was forcing him to abdicate. In this situation, if he still didn't make a decision, then everyone present would probably think that he was obsessed with power and refused to let go. He didn't care about the development and future of the Shen family. He was about to die. Why didn't he hurry up and appoint a successor? What was he waiting for? Moreover, with the lineup that Shen Zhengquan had found, it seemed that he was the most filial. He was also the eldest son. If he let someone else be the head of the family, it would be a little biased. It wouldn't be justifiable. Seeing that Zheng Zhiba, Ma Yuqian, and Tan Muyo were all sitting here, it was obvious that they were there to hold the fort for him. If he let someone else take over, it would be hard to say if there would be trouble. Thinking of this, Shen Shanhe was disheartened. Forget it, if you want it, then take it. He didn't want to see the Shen family fall into internal strife. Passing the position to the eldest son of the Shen family, Shen Zhengquan, was the best outcome. However, just as Shen Shanhe was about to speak, he was interrupted by an indifferent voice. The one who spoke was Xiao Chen. Who said that pharmacist Ji can't treat anyone else just because he said so? Xiao Chen knew that if he didn't stand up and waited for Shen Shanhe to express his stance, then the matter would become a foregone conclusion. Therefore, he had to stand up. However, he didn't know when pharmacist Lu would arrive, so he had to stop him first. What? Shen Zhengquan's eyebrows twitched. He looked at Xiao Chen with some embarrassment and said angrily, "White Fox, do you mean that your medical skills are better than pharmacist Ji's?" "That's hard to say." Xiao Chen said lightly, "I didn't say that. You said it yourself. But, maybe it's a little better." Chapter 468. Ignorant fool, what did you say? You mean, you can cure him? Medicine Master Ji had already lost some face when he couldn't cure Shen Shanhe's problem. Now that someone dared to question him, he stood up and shouted at Xiao Chen. He was the chief medicine master of the warrior guild. How honorable was his status? Now that he was being questioned by an unknown junior, it was a great humiliation. White Fox, don't interfere in other people's family matters. According to the warrior guild's rules, as a warrior, you can't interfere in other families' matters. Zheng Zhiba spoke. Because of the old man's intervention yesterday, Zheng Zhiba couldn't take care of Xiao Chen. He was still unhappy. Now that Xiao Chen had jumped out, how could he let him go? He was worried about not having a chance to deal with him. Really? Xiao Chen smiled, I'm Shen Jingxuan's boyfriend. How is this someone else's family matter? Is Jingxuan's grandfather not my grandfather? I see that you're an outsider sitting there. If I didn't know better, I would think that you're also a grandson of the Shen family. The current Xiao Chen was someone who could even injure Clay Den. Xiao Chen was full of confidence and did not put Zheng Zhiba in his eyes at all. Not to mention the fact that Zheng Zhiba was only the vice president of the warrior guild. Even if he was the president, Xiao Chen would not care too much. White Fox, mind your status. You said that you're only Jingxuan's boyfriend, not her fiancé. Moreover, Jingxuan's marriage will be decided in a family meeting. I'll discuss this matter later. It's hard to say if you can still be Jingxuan's boyfriend. So, please sit down first. Shen Zhengquan said coldly. Zheng Zhiba was slandered by Xiao Chen as a grandson of the Shen family. Wasn't that the same generation as White Fox? He was furious. He pointed at Xiao Chen and was about to attack. However, at this moment, a disciple of the Shen family ran in hurriedly and said, Old Master Shen, Acting Master Shen, there are two people, they want to come in. Who? Shen Zhengquan was stunned. Where are they from? Don't they know that the Shen family is holding a family meeting? No visitors will be received for the time being. But, they are. Before the disciple could finish his words, two people had already entered from behind him. The sudden appearance of these two people caused everyone present to be somewhat stunned. Who? Who were they? However, most people didn't know him, but some did. For example, Xiao Chen, Shen Zhenghao, and the newcomers were none other than Medicine Master Lu and Medicine Master Chen. The two of them didn't say much and immediately took out their identities as the Hong Chamber of Commerce's chief pharmacist. How would the disciple dare to stop them? After all, they were super important figures. Hence, he hurriedly came to report their arrival, but before he could finish, they had already entered. Shen Zhenghao was excited. At this moment, he clenched his fists. Reversal, the situation had actually reversed. Initially, he did not have much hope, but now that he saw Xiao Chen step forward, followed by Medicine Master Lu and Medicine Master Chen, he was extremely excited. Perhaps his father's problem could really be cured, and Jing Mao would also have the chance to become the young patriarch. Who are you? How dare you barge into the Shen family's meeting room? How dare you disrespect the Shen family? Do you want to become enemies with the Shen family? Shen Zhenquan shouted angrily. Become enemies? The Shen family is not worthy of becoming enemies with us. Medicine Master Lu looked at Shen Zhenquan calmly. Although his voice wasn't loud, the confidence in it made people involuntarily revere him. Not worthy? Shen Zhenquan was thoroughly enraged. He glared at the newcomer and said, I'd like to see who in Lan City dares to say such things to me. Chairman Zheng, do you know these two people? I wonder where these natives came from. How dare they act so pretentiously? I don't know them. Zheng Zhiba smirked. Do you know them, Manager Ma? Shen Zhenquan asked smugly. No. Ma Yuqian shook his head. Then do you know these two people, Medicine Master Tan? Are they very powerful people? Shen Zhenquan continued to ask. I don't know them. Tan Muji was different from Medicine Master Sunday. Medicine Master Sun had only met Medicine Master Lu once, but Medicine Master Tan had never seen him before. Not every chief pharmacist of the Warriors Marketplace had the opportunity to meet Lu Fangzhen. Ha 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 ha. Medicine Master Ji, may I ask if you know these two experts? Shen Zhenquan laughed heartily and turned to look at the fighting arena, where he considered the most distinguished guests. I think I know them. Apothecary Ji rubbed his eyes and looked at the two people in front of him in disbelief. As the chief apothecary of the Warriors Market headquarters, he naturally recognized Apothecary Lu and Apothecary Chen. They were the chief apothecary of the Hong Chamber of Commerce, and their ranks were even higher than his, a chief apothecary of the Warriors Market headquarters. However, why were they here? It was already a miracle that one of them had appeared here. Now that two of them had appeared together, he found it hard to believe. That was why he hadn't dared to confirm it for a long time. Little G is here too? Medicine Master Lu glanced at him and said faintly, if I had known that you were here, I wouldn't have called myself Old Chen. Although your strength is lacking, it is enough to be Little White Fox's assistant. Gah! Medicine Master Ji finally confirmed that the two people in front of him were Medicine Master Lu and Medicine Master Chen. He ran over excitedly and said, Medicine Master Lu, Medicine Master Chen, it's really you. Why are you here? I didn't even go out to welcome you. Really? It's nothing. Isn't it because Little White Fox's girlfriend's grandfather is sick? We're here to help him treat her grandfather. Medicine Master Lu said. Huh? Medicine Master Ji's face turned red. Then, his face was full of shock. What? Did Medicine Master Lu mean that he and Medicine Master Chen were here to help Little White Fox? What was going on? These two were top-notch pharmacists, but now they were going to help an unknown Little White Fox. He recalled how he had been so disdainful when Little White Fox had said that he had a way to treat him. Now, even Medicine Master Lu was willing to help him. How good was this person's medical skills? Thinking of this, Medicine Master Ji's face turned red. He did not know what to say. He looked at Xiao Chen apologetically. He wanted to say something but did not know what to say. At that moment, Xiao Chen stood up and greeted them. Old Man Lu, Old Man Chen, I didn't expect you to come so soon, especially Old Man Chen. Aren't you busy? I'm flattered that you're here too. Ha ha ha, Xiao. Little friend, long time no see. Old Man Chen laughed. I'm just here to be a passerby. Medicine Master Tan was dumbfounded. He did not understand what was going on. What was going on? Why were these two people? Medicine Master Lu? Medicine Master Chen? Could it be the legendary chief pharmacist of the Hong Chamber of Commerce? Medicine Master Tan broke out in a cold sweat. It could not be. Were they really these two people? Judging from Medicine Master Ji's attitude, it should not be wrong. But how did they know Little White Fox? Moreover, they seemed to be very familiar with each other and were willing to help Little White Fox. What was going on? Shen Zhengquan stood there with a stiff expression. He did not know what to say. He could tell who Medicine Master Lu and Medicine Master Chen were, so he did not dare to act rashly. Although the Hong Chamber of Commerce did not have the authority to directly manage the Shen family, it was better not to offend such big shots. If the Shen family was blacklisted by the Hong Chamber of Commerce, it would be beyond redemption. Shen Shanhe, who had been closing his eyes, suddenly opened them. A sharp glint flashed across his eyes. Even Medicine Master Ji was extremely respectful to these two people. Their identities were definitely not ordinary. And they were actually sent by the White Fox? Shen Shanhe, who had been disappointed, rekindled his hope. No one wanted to die if they could. He had not lived long enough. Little White Fox, shall we start now? Medicine Master Lu asked. All right. Xiao Chen nodded and said, then you and Old Man Chen will treat Grandpa Shen now. Medicine Master Ji, can you protect us? Yes, yes. Medicine Master Ji nodded quickly. He was willing to do anything. This Little White Fox turned out to be a powerful person. If he could build a good relationship with him, wouldn't it be the same as building a good relationship with Medicine Master Lu and Medicine Master Chen? In the future, if he had any questions, he could ask Medicine Master Lu directly. As for Little White Fox, he did not want to ask for advice. After all, he was not from the Hong Chamber of Commerce and had no time to take care of him. The reason why he asked Medicine Master Ji to protect him was that Xiao Chen was afraid that someone would cause trouble while he was treating Shen Shanhe. However, it should be impossible. No matter how these people tried to harm Shen Shanhe in the dark, it was only in public. If they really tried to harm him in the open, it would be insane. Who in the Shen family would support them? Therefore, in theory, no one would cause trouble. Xiao Chen walked to Shen Shanhe's side and sat in Medicine Master Ji's original seat. When Medicine Master Lu and Medicine Master Chen walked over, Zheng Zhiba hesitated for a moment. In the end, he did not give up his seat to them. He was from the Warrior Guild, which was a different system from the Hong Chamber of Commerce. They could not control each other. Therefore, for the sake of his reputation, he chose to persist to the end. Anyway, even if he gave up his seat, the other party would not have a good impression of him. These people were Little White Fox's friends. If he wanted to deal with Little White Fox, he would eventually become their enemy. On the other hand, Medicine Master Ji quickly moved 2 chairs from nearby and placed them beside Shen Shanhe. Then, he said, Medicine Master Lu, Medicine Master Chen, please. The 2 medicine masters nodded. After sitting down, they looked at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen said, Medicine Master Lu, I believe you have already told Medicine Master Chen the method? Shall we begin now? Yes, let's begin. Medicine Master Lu nodded. Hence, Medicine Master Lu and Medicine Master Chen first examined Shen Shanhe's body. After a rough understanding, they began to suppress 1 poison each. As for Xiao Chen, he channeled his primordial qi into Shen Shanhe's body and began to treat the poison. Everyone present stared at them intently. Shen Zhengquan's expression was a little ugly. Something that was so close to success had been ruined just like that. Chapter 469. Although Medicine Master Lu glanced at Zheng Zhiba for not giving up his seat, he did not say anything. Xiao Chen, on the other hand, was a little unhappy. This guy was quite arrogant, wasn't he? Why are you sitting so close to him? Are you trying to cause trouble? If anything goes wrong, you'll be responsible, right? Xiao Chen glared at Zheng Zhiba. You. Zheng Zhiba did not want to admit defeat, but Xiao Chen's accusation was too serious. He had no choice but to snort coldly and find a way out. I'll stay away from you, lest you blame me if you can't cure him. Xiao Chen smiled slightly. He was actually afraid that Zheng Zhiba would cause trouble if he was too close, so he pushed him away. When everything was done, Xiao Chen began to detoxify the poison. In fact, with the help of Medicine Master Lu and Medicine Master Chen, Xiao Chen's detoxification speed and efficiency had increased a lot. He did not need to exert any effort to suppress the toxicity. He only needed to detoxify it step by step. Then, he channeled the vitality produced after the detoxification into his own body. In fact, Xiao Chen benefited from treating others, but it was more energy-consuming and dangerous without help. Time ticked by. Everyone's attention was focused on Xiao Chen and the two apothecaries. Meanwhile, Apothecary Ji stood at the side with bright eyes. Although he couldn't understand what was happening, he could sense that the white fox was in charge. He was secretly impressed, but at the same time, he felt guilty for his rashness. Shen Zhengquan stood at the side with an uncertain expression. He was so angry that he was about to explode. He had already done everything, but this white fox was really good at stirring up trouble. She had actually invited Medicine Master Lu and Medicine Master Chen. If Shen Shanha's illness was really cured, how was he going to carry out the next part of his plan? A strange look flashed in Shen Zhengxin's eyes. From beginning to end, he did not say anything against it. Instead, he quietly watched the situation unfold. 2 to 3 hours passed in the blink of an eye. Xiao Chen took a deep breath. He had successfully neutralized the toxins in Shen Shanha's body, allowing him to return to his previous state. As for the injury to Shen Shanha's liver, he did not repair it. This was an old injury, and it was impossible for him to repair it with his yuan qi. He had to use medicinal liquid to treat it, which was different from poison and new injuries. All right. Xiao Chen stood up and said to everyone present. Medicine Master Lu and Medicine Master Chen had obviously checked Shen Shanha's condition and nodded in agreement. Shen Zhengxuan's heart was about to explode at this moment, but he still forced himself to be calm and said in surprise, "Really? Is my father really cured?" In reality, his heart was bleeding. How could it be good? How could it be? Shen Shanha's face was radiant at this moment. He directly stood up from his wheelchair, his gaze like a sharp knife, sweeping across the crowd. After a long while, he said, "This old man has escaped from death. This time, I have to thank my little friend, White Fox. Today, I announce that Jingxian is officially betrothed to the White Fox." The crowd was in an uproar, especially Tan Jita. He clenched his fists, gritted his teeth, and stared at the White Fox. He could not accept it. He absolutely could not accept it. However, Tan Mue, who was beside him, patted him on the shoulder, telling him to be patient. There was still a chance. "Thank you, Old Master Shen. Grandfather Shen, the White Fox will definitely treat Jingxian well," Xiao Chen said quickly. Shen Jingxian sat below, her face slightly red. She was also a little excited. He actually made the Shen family admit it. Xiao Chen had finally done it. In retrospect, the past few days were like a dream. Even she had a feeling that it was unreal. Everything was too fantastical. Congratulations, father. Father, you are old but strong. It seems that I should also retire to the second line. Father, you will still be at the helm of the Shen family. Shen Jingquan didn't want to see this white fox's performance and immediately said against her will, "But, father, since the Shen family's clan meeting has already been held, shouldn't we take this opportunity to decide on the matter of the successor of the young master that we previously proposed? Anyway, it's not far from the end of the year." Shen Shanhe looked at Shen Jingquan with a hidden meaning, making him uncomfortable. He subconsciously wanted to dodge. In fact, he was still very afraid of Shen Shanhe. Previously, he was not afraid of Shen Shanhe's serious illness. But now, Shen Shanhe had recovered. How could he not be afraid? "That's right, father. Big brother is right. This matter is imperative. If the family had a backbone this time, we wouldn't be in such a mess." Shen Jingxin also opened his mouth to speak. Shen Jingquan was a little surprised that he stood out. What was going on? Was Shen Jingbing also participating in the competition? But Shen Jingbing did not have an advantage. In terms of strength and contribution to the family, he was not as good as his son, Shen Jingtian. "Zhenghao, what do you think?" Shen Shanhe looked at Shen Zhenghao, who had been silent all this while. "Dad, I have no objections." Shen Zhenghao took a deep breath. This was his chance, how could he reject it? Although he was happy for his father's recovery, when it came to his own interests, he still had to fight for it. Moreover, this was not considered an unfilial matter. The Shen family had already decided on the direction. It was Shen Shanhe himself who proposed it. Now, it was just a little earlier. "Alright, since no one has any objections, then we will take advantage of this meeting to determine the successor of the family." Shen Shanhe nodded. "Before that, I would like to thank White Fox once again. Thank you to Medicine Master Lu and Medicine Master Chen. Thank you. I will remember your kindness. If there is anything you need me to do in the future, I will not hesitate. Don't mention it." We were also invited by White Fox. Medicine Master Lu cupped his fists and said, "Since there's nothing else, Old Chen and I will leave first. We still have things to settle. White Fox, let's go back and see you." "Alright, thank you Medicine Master Lu and Medicine Master Chen for your help. I really can't thank you enough." Xiao Chen also bowed and said, "Shall I send you off?" "No need, Xiaoji can send us off." Medicine Master Lu waved his hand. He knew that the atmosphere here was still tense. Xiao Chen wanted to help Shen Jingxian get promoted, but they had already achieved their goal. They could no longer stay here and interfere. As the pharmacists of the Hong Consortium, they could not forcefully interfere with other families' affairs. They could intimidate others, but it was a big taboo to give orders. After all, it had nothing to do with them. Moreover, it was against the Hong Consortium's internal rules. Businessmen should not get involved in those fights. It was not good for business. Alright. Ji Yuliang quickly responded and followed them. This was a rare opportunity to get close to the two pharmacists. How could he let it go? He was pleasantly surprised. Everyone present had their own thoughts as they watched Apothecary LV, Apothecary Chen, and Apothecary Ji leave the conference hall. Shen Jingquan and Shen Jingxin were a little upset. They knew how powerful Apothecary LV and Apothecary Chen were, but they were unwilling to believe that the White Fox had a good relationship with them. When it came to their own interests, even if Shen Jingmao had White Fox's support, they would not back down. So what if the Hong Consortium was powerful? What did that have to do with the Shen family? The Shen family chose the young master themselves. What right did they have to interfere? Alright, let's talk about the competition for the young master's position now. Shen Shanhe said slowly, according to the competitor's performance, strength, and contributions to the family, each of you will come on stage and tell your story. Then, everyone will jointly choose the two most outstanding ones. I will personally assess and decide. Alright, father. Now, let's invite the competitors to come on stage. They will all stand in front of everyone and tell their stories one by one. Shen Jingquan said. Sure. Shen Shanhe nodded. Good. Let's invite the outstanding third-generation descendants of the Shen family to come on stage. Shen Jingquan said loudly. At this time, Shen Jingtian, Shen Jingbing, and Shen Jingmao all came on stage. There was also a collateral relative of the Shen family called Shen Jingyan. He was also one of the more outstanding descendants of the third generation, but he knew that he was purely a bystander. With his background, it was impossible for him to become the young master of the Shen family. However, if he could come on stage and show his face, he would at least be the most outstanding among the collateral relatives of the Shen family. He would also be entrusted with important tasks and be in charge of some important business of the Shen family. That would also be very good. Therefore, he did not hope to be promoted. He only hoped that everyone would know him. Alright, let's start from Jingtian. Shen Shanhe nodded and looked at Shen Jingtian. There was no problem starting from the first branch. It was reasonable, and the others could not say anything. Yes, Grandpa. Shen Jingtian cupped her fists and slowly began to talk about her glorious achievements. My current strength is already at the peak of stage 7 inner force. Among the younger generation, although it can't be said to be too high, it's still not bad. This year, I completed 10 missions in the Warrior Guild and completed 8 of them, earning me points. Shen Jingtian talked non-stop about his ability. In fact, it was similar to a report. However, Shen Jingtian's ability was indeed not small. With just a few words, everyone present was amazed. It turned out that Shen Jingtian had broken through to the peak of stage 7 internal force. Wasn't he only at stage 7 internal force at the beginning of the year? He was already at the peak. What a rare genius. As for the missions at the Warrior Guild, everyone was even more amazed. 8 out of 10 missions were completed. The success rate was not low. Especially the points that were obtained were all contributed to the account of the Shen family. However, the last sentence shocked everyone present. But it also made some people clench their fists. Of course, what I want to talk about is actually the last thing. Compared to the last thing, what happened before is nothing at all. Shen Jingtian smiled and slowly said, I heard that second great-grandfather needed some medicinal herbs. Therefore, I asked around, and with the help of Kita and his master, Medicine Master Ji, I finally managed to get a batch of medicinal herbs from the Hong Chamber of Commerce. It was all the medicinal herbs that I needed. I bought them all and contributed them to second great-grandfather. I asked third uncle Zhenghao to help me with this matter. I think he is clear about it. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.